If you said the fans in Detroit were crazy, you'd be selling them short. This city is starving for a Stanley Cup championship, but the fans are licking their chops. It's been 42 years since they hoisted the cup, an eternity for one of hockey's proudest franchises. But that drought may be ending as the Wings return home in search of a victory that will place them one win away from the Stanley Cup. Well, Ron Hextall was the starter in Game 1. He sat in Game 2, but he's back in Game 3 as the Flyers hope that he can lead them to the Stanley Cup. Steve Yzerman, well, we know he's headed to the Hall of Fame. The only question, will he get there with a Stanley Cup ring or not? Welcome inside Joe Louis Arena, Hockeytown, USA. John Saunders, Barry Melrose, and Darren Pang. And in this one, the Red Wings themselves told everyone, we did not expect to win 2 games in Philadelphia. They did. How does that affect tonight's game?
And they deserve to win in Philadelphia. No smoke and mirrors. They went in, did everything they're supposed to. And if I'm Scotty Bowman, I got to make sure now that they don't change. There's 20,000 people in here, all Detroit fans. They got to come out and do the same things, the dirty, nasty things they did in Philadelphia. If they do that, they're going to be successful. But that's what Scotty's worried about, not changing anything. Darren, what about the Orange team?
Well, I would figure, Barry, that they're going to come up with a real big game because based on their past, they've changed their goalie 4 times. They've won 3 games. This is the 5th time. Ron Hextall gets the nod. This team rallies around Ron Hextall. After the decision that he wouldn't play Game 2, every one of his teammates called him at home. That's the kind of impact he has on this hockey club.
And I think we all agree Ron Hextall needs to come up with a big save early on in this game to help the Flyers in their confidence. For more, let's check in with Steve Levy.
All right, John, thanks very much. Following that Saturday night game, Rod Brind'amour and a bunch of the Flyers said, hey, we lost the first 2 games at home. The pressure's completely off us and all on Detroit going home with a 2-game lead. Now, is that a cop-out? Maybe, but maybe not.
I agree with that because when you're getting close to the Stanley Cup, so you have on the back of your mind, so it's going to be would be nice to sweep the series, but it's not going to be easy on the ice. The only way we can help ourselves to play the great game and be focused from the first minute.
We don't worry about what they say or what they do. We worry about ourselves, and that's the key to our success this year. Is that we worry about the 20 guys in here, how we're going to go out and play.
Now, the Flyers are relying heavily on their road record in the playoffs. They're 6-1, but Detroit can counter with the fact that Philadelphia hasn't won in this building since 1988, a span of 8 games. For more on the Flyers, let's go to their bench and Al Morganti.
Well, thank you, Steve. You've heard the term robbing Peter to pay Paul. Well, what about when you've been robbed of both Peter and Paul? That's the situation with the Flyers defense. Peter Svoboda, he's gone with a broken foot, and now Paul Coffey, he's out with a concussion back home in the Philadelphia area. This is more serious than you might think. Remember, Coffey got a bad concussion when he was hit by Eric Lindros in Vancouver early in the year. That's why he's gone, and it's so serious. In the meantime, a guy like Michel Petit, he'll get a chance on defense, but more importantly, Chris Therien, he'll be counted upon heavily.
Losing 2 veteran guys there, you know, in Peter and Paul. So, you know, we just got to stay focused. You know, this team has been built on depth, and you know, we got a couple guys in the lineup now. All you can do is just hope they come in and get the job done. And I'm sure they will.
It's a great feeling, you know. It's especially when you're been 14 years in the league, never had a chance, never passed the first round, and now I have the opportunity to play the Stanley Cup final. You know, it's a great feeling, and now I have a chance to get into it, and I'm going to give my best.
Well, it's not likely Petit's going to get that much ice time. The more likely scenario, the Flyers rely heavily and lean heavily on Yanni Niinimaa. Hope he plays like Coffey in his prime. Also, Kjell Samuelsson back in the lineup, hoping he's a strong veteran to return. And, of course, great games they expect from Eric Desjardins and Therien. John?
All right, Al, thanks a lot. And when we talk about Paul Coffey, he has struggled in this series. He's been on the ice for 6 of Detroit's 8 goals. If you had a chance to coach this guy, though, you know he'd be here if he could.
Paul Coffey is the type of guy, he wants to be here, he wants to be on the ice in key situations. But if I'm Terry Murray, I take this a positive slant. Coffey's out, Svoboda's out. My best 3 defensemen all playoff long has been Therien, Niinimaa, and Desjardins. All this means is those 3 guys, the best defensemen, are going to play more. That's a positive thing, and maybe it's something that might prove Philadelphia's favor, Darren.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think as a team, you end up playing harder. Everybody starts back-checking a little bit harder, but they have to anyway. They have to play better defensively against the Detroit Red Wings, so as a team, they've got to bring it up. There is good news. Talk to Bobby Clark, and he had mentioned there's a possibility anyway that Paul Coffey may return for Game 4.
That would be good news. But the biggest story in this series has been the goaltending of the Philadelphia Flyers. Hextall, game 1. Snow, game 2. Hextall now, we're told, for the rest of the series.
The rotating goalie thing, I mean, it just doesn't work. The last time it happened in the Stanley Cup Finals, where goaltenders switched 3 consecutive games, 1981. But right now, for the Philadelphia Flyers, they need to take away the time and space of the Detroit Red Wings. Game 1 against Hextall, do you see a Flyer anywhere near him? Yes, Ron Hextall should stop that. Game 2, the same type of thing. Brendan Shanahan takes the puck, room in the neutral zone, Flyers backing up. It's not a shot from the blue line anymore. Look at this. You got the defenseman, very passive. Instead of being up and closing the gap, they're backing off a little bit. Look where Shanahan eventually shoots this puck. Now, there has been a lot of pressure on Garth Snow and Ron Hextall, but that's a pretty tough shot to stop right there. Granted, the Kirk Maltby goal was the killer again. The momentum killers for the Philadelphia Flyers. They've really got to eliminate that barrel.
Well, I think tonight Ron Hextall is going to be the story. I don't think it's Eric Lindros. I don't think it's John LeClaire. I think it's Ronnie Hextall. John mentioned he's got to come out. He's got to make one save early. Can't let the first hard shot go in. And he's got to get them believing in him, and he's got to get the team believing in each other. I don't think this is a confident team right now. Ronnie Hextall is the key tonight.
And without question, we'll find out in a few moments' time. 8-12 will drop the puck. We'll continue with more on the quest for the Cup. Detroit's first in 42 years if they can get it.
Desperate living, driving me mad. Writings on the wall, crushed all our hopes and the dreams we once had, just to watch them fall. Turn it up in the daytime, burning down at night. How long does it take to break the spell? Straight to the top, tooth and nail, yeah, yeah, yeah. Straight to the top.
The quest for the Cup continues, especially for this man. For years, he's represented class in the National Hockey League, but he's still looking for his first Stanley Cup victory. As we mentioned, we know this guy is headed to Toronto someday to the Hall of Fame. He's already a member of the 500 Goal Club, the Hall of Fame club that will come. But one club he'd like to avoid, that's the No Stanley Cup Club. And with Steve Yzerman, you know his leadership may get them there.
Leadership, an important element in the success of a hockey club. A vital element needed to win a Stanley Cup championship. So who assumes that role for the Red Wings?
Steve Yzerman.
Stevie Y. Obviously, Steve Yzerman is the captain, and this is his team no matter what anybody says.
Yzerman has been Detroit's captain since 1986. He has led the team in goals 7 times and led in total points 9 times.
I think leadership by example. You can't be a leader unless you're playing well on the ice. And guys see you giving 100%, and that's the one thing that I really see Steve. He brings a professionalism to the rink every day, whether it's practice or a game.
Whether it's on the ice or off the ice, right? He's one of the hardest working guys. He's a captain. You look at him, and he just does everything.
Asserting yourself on the ice is the most important requirement for leadership. On the bench, in the locker room, how you handle yourself, and trying to do things the right way on and off the ice.
You know, Stevie feels that there's a need for something to be said. That's when he steps up and says something. And when he speaks, he always has something very good to say, and everybody listens.
And with good reason. Steve Yzerman has now visited the playoffs 12 times, and that experience helps him today.
I think you learn a lot. You learn how to just prepare for the next game, regardless of what happened in the previous game, good or bad. That it doesn't matter. You just get ready for your next game.
Barry, the young Red Wings have Steve Yzerman to look up to. When Steve Yzerman was a rookie, he had you to look up to.
Well, boy, is that ever a lot of like. I played with Steve Eisman in '84, his rookie year. I know a little bit what he's like in the room. He's a very quiet individual. That piece said it all. But the bottom line is, this guy is great because he competes. He's got passion. He's got courage. He's got drive. He's just not a normal captain who everybody just makes a captain because he's the best player. This simplifies right here Eisman. He's playing against Lindros, maybe one of the biggest, toughest guys ever. Lindros, a little bit of a dirty play, pull him down. Look at Stevie go right back at him, nose to nose with this guy, hits the guy behind the net. That's how a captain plays. He leads on the ice, he leads in the room, and he's a special guy. He's got courage, he's got guts, not just a special offensive player out.
And I think it's really important, too, to note that he's healthy for the first time as well. I mean, he wasn't healthy in '95. Certainly last year in the conference finals, he pulled the groin. But you saw the videotape of the 2 conference final championships. In '95, boy, he brought that thing up, and this place went nuts here in Detroit. A learning process, you betcha. This year, he took that sucker and he went right to the locker room.
He says this one doesn't mean anything if we do not get the next 4 games. Now, 8-12 is when we'll drop the puck as we head towards the top of the hour. The gentlemen who will call the game, Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. Let's check in with them.
John, thanks very much. For the Detroit Red Wings, what a welcome they've got home here. This city is absolutely cup crazy. Being up 2-0 coming into this and having played as well as they are, learning their lessons from last playoff seasons. They've been a team, Bill, that really has not made a mistake, at least not one that has cost them in the first 2 games.
And at times in the playoffs when you're on the road and then you come home, and that has happened to the Red Wings, obviously, often in the playoffs. You expect them maybe to open up and stray from that defensive style, maybe play some run and gun with this big crowd here at the Joe yelling after them. But they haven't done that, especially Game 6 against Colorado. So don't expect them to loosen up at all. And one of the guys that benefits from Detroit playing so tight is Mike Vernon in goal. Yes, he has made saves, but in this last game that the Red Wings played in Philadelphia, Mike Vernon, by my count, only had to make 3 tough saves. He has stopped all of the stoppable shots. That is the biggest difference between the Detroit goaltending and the Philadelphia goaltending, but he's getting great protection, and when he has to, he makes the big one.
And interesting to note, he's now, for the 2nd time in his career, won more games in the playoffs than the regular season. Last time he did that, he won a cup. How about this guy?
Yep, and he's had guys banging up front. We talk about finishing the checks. The Flyers were supposed to be the big bruising team. Darren McCarty has been able to get into the trenches against the Flyers and really show them that if the Flyers want to play that kind of game, they can play that game and play it well. And McCarty leads the way. And not only has he led the hitting game, but he showed us how tough he was. He took a shot on the bare ribs in Game 2, had a huge welt, didn't even faze him. He just wanted to show everybody. Then he came back, didn't miss a shift.
Philadelphia's got to find some more offense. One of the problems is not the guys you would expect leading. It's been Rod Brind'amour.
But to me, Rod Brind'amour is the most complete forward on the Flyers team. And without Rod Brind'amour, they would not have even drawn even in Game 2. He scored 2 power play goals on plays that look just about identical, with Niinema assisting on both of them. Not only does he supply offense, but he supplies defense. He's a top face-off guy. But offensively in this playoff year, Rod Brind'amour has really come into his own. He is tied for the NHL lead. He has tied a playoff record. He has tied a finals record. Besides all of those offensive things, he is fantastic defensively.
What Philadelphia's got to do is find a way to get some even strength goals. That has been a big problem against Detroit. John, back to you.
All right, guys, we'll see you at the top of the hour. Barry, one of the great things about a 7-game series is there's pressure on both teams throughout, whether you're ahead or behind.
John, in a series like this or all the series in the playoffs, you find out about your team. Must-win situations. Detroit has faced a number of them. Against in the first series, they faced it. Against Colorado, they faced it. And they rose to the occasion and won those games all the time. This is sort of a must-win for Detroit because they want to go up 3-1, but not, or 3-0, I'm sorry. But Detroit, Philadelphia must win this game. We're going to find out a lot about Philadelphia tonight. Darren.
You know, I was really impressed with the way Detroit handled their game back here, Game 6 against Colorado. In Game 5, obviously they lost in Denver. They came back here and they didn't point fingers. For the first time in a long time, I saw the Red Wings not pointing fingers towards anybody else. They took sole responsibility and made themselves accountable, and they responded with what I feel is the best series clinching game that I've seen in an awful long time, Game 6 against Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, stick around. There's still plenty more to come. When we return, you'll get a chance to see the 3 of us on the ice, something you won't want to miss. And we want to remind you that Game 4 here in Detroit, coverage begins at 7:30 with a quest for the Cup right here on ESPN. Game 5, they ship back to Philadelphia and Fox. Then we'll be back with Game 6 here. Of Detroit. Well, they did it in Philadelphia. William Penn, Turnabout Fair Play, and more fan radio talk.
Our phone number is 313-568-1130. Let's fire up Detroit. Let's send a message out to the nation right now that we here in the Motor City are about to have the biggest greatest celebration that this country has seen since the bicentennial. Yeah, let's do it up.
Since the bicentennial, boy, this town is looking for a winner. As we mentioned earlier, it's been some 42 years since they have won a Stanley Cup. Now, one of the interesting things about hockey is it's one of the few games where you give the other team possession as a chance to get your offense going. Can you explain that?
Well, John, Detroit's system, the left wing lock, basically sets it up so that you have to dump the puck in, and they say if you got enough guts and strength to go in and get it, you're going to have success against us. But what's happened is Philly is not executing this very well. A lot of it's because of Detroit. Right here you see Terrion has the puck at center ice. Matter of fact, he even cheats a little bit because of Detroit forechecking. Now he's going to dump the puck in order to let these forecheckers go in with speed in order to go in and win some physical battles and pick up the loose puck. Terrion must keep the puck away from the goaltender. That's a key on a dump, and don't let the goaltender play it. What happens, Terrion dumps it in, Vernon gets it, gives it to his defenseman. Nobody forechecks Konstantinov. That's something wrong there. Now this is the killer right here. 1 Philadelphia Flyer trap, 2 Philadelphia Flyer trap, 3 Philadelphia Flyer trap. Great pass up the middle. That should have been an offensive chance for Philadelphia on that dump, which results in Detroit going the other way, John. That's a terrible dump in. They've been doing it too many times now, and it's got to change. But what I'm going to show you now is what happens right. I brought together the best hockey minds in the United States, Bill Clement, John Saunders, Barry Melrose, Darren Pang, and we're going to show you how to put the dump in properly, and let's take a look at it. The one dump in that Philadelphia must try is a hard around dump in. That means it gets up in the glass and it's hard enough that the goaltender cannot get out of the net and play it, as you'll see in this situation. Okay, Billy, hard around. Okay. Hard as you can. Now we'll show you the cross-ice dump-in. It's very important when they do the cross-ice dump-in that it goes away from the goaltender, not towards the goaltender.
Darren Pang with that rapier-like glove hand on the save, but
took us 20 takes to get him to stop one.
But that dump in, as you mentioned before, and I said, giving up the possession, it gives you a great offensive chance.
No, that's what hockey's all about. Sometimes if that's your strength forecheck, and you got to get it in deep in order to do that. Philadelphia's not been able to do that, Darren.
Well, I noticed that you had a Red Wing jersey on in that practice. Oh, by the way. But I think in the dump-in situation, and you make a good point about that, we'll figure this out tonight for Ron Hextall. Because the left winger for Detroit is so passive, look for Ron Hextall to go up his left side, so the right side of the Detroit Red Wings, because the right side of Detroit, that's their heavy forecheck. He'll wait for them to come to him, and then he'll try to chip it off the boards. But you're right. If a goalie can get that puck and get a grip on it, he makes an easy play out.
And there's been a lot of interesting handles of the puck by all the goaltenders in this series. Well, as you know, Nick Mackay always brings us the tale of the tape here on ESPN. Well, tonight we've got Hockey Town USA against the Philly Fanatics. Nick Mackay.
Well, we're already knee-deep in the Stanley Cup Finals, and based on what you've seen, you may think you know who's going to win it, but that's why they play 7, baby. Believe me, it has nothing to do with generating extra revenue. As for me, I can't sit around and let the team settle it on the ice. I have to know who's best. I have to know now, and what's worse, I have to figure it out my way. Red Wings, Flyers, an elbow from Lindros versus a head game from Bowman. Let's see how they stack up at the tail of the tape. Logos, Detroit, a flying wheel. Philly, a big P. Advantage Flyers. Local history, Philadelphia, the birthplace of democracy. Detroit, the birthplace of the K-car. Advantage Philadelphia. Squid, Detroit, flying debris. Philadelphia, a local mobster. You know, like Joey the Squid Abundanzo. Advantage Red Wings. Popular misconceptions. Detroit, Russian players don't care about the Stanley Cup. Philadelphia, Rocky Balboa is real. Advantage Push. Worthy of further investigation. Philadelphia, the size of Garth Snow's shoulder pads. Detroit, how much suck the Red Wings have with immigration. Advantage Push. Colors. Philly, too much orange. Detroit, too much red. Advantage? Detroit in a squeaker. This is the kind of final that has a young man yearning for a dash of teal. Local industry. Detroit, cars. Philadelphia, cream cheese? Advantage Detroit. How long they've waited for a cup. Philadelphia since 1975. Detroit since they invented rope. Advantage Detroit. Motivational techniques. Detroit litter the dressing room with postcards of Chernobyl. Philadelphia, brotherly love. Advantage push. And finally, no one is safe. Philadelphia, when the Legion of Doom is driving to the net. Detroit, when Tim Allen is driving home. Advantage Flyers. So there you have it. It's so simple when you break things down scientifically. In a wrist shot snapped through the 5-hole, and we all know how painful that can be. The advantage goes to the Detroit Red Wings, but don't tell Lindros I said so. Until next time, I'm Nick Bakay reminding you the numbers never lie.
All right, Nick, thanks a lot. And obviously an interesting way to look at a different perspective of looking at the game. But right now, we will come back in a few moments. The Flyers and the Red Wings will drop the puck at 8:12. Simple cars here, but the most precious metal in Detroit would be the Stanley Cup if they can bring it home. Sergei Fedorov and crew looking to do that. We are just about 15 minutes away from dropping the puck. You can hear it's pandemonium. Let's check in with Steve Levy.
John, thanks very much. 3 potential problems from Detroit. They're fighting the possibility of overconfidence. They also don't want to change anything, even though they're now at home, and tickets are always a problem. Chris Draper said he's getting calls from his high school teachers who used to hate him. Let's go to the Flyers side. Here's Al.
Thank you, Steve. Well, gamesmanship all the way through the playoffs. What the Flyers spent the last few days doing, they're trying to get word to the officials. They think the Red Wings are interfering with their dump and chase game and their forecheck game. We'll see if they got to the officials. And, John, sounds like the Red Wings complained against the Devils a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely did hear that a couple of years ago. Left wing walk has been causing a lot of problems. What do you look for tonight?
None of this stuff matters. If Ron Hextall lets in a soft goal, he's got to come out. He's got to play well early. Again, give this team confidence. He is the key. I don't want to be repetitive, but that's what it's all about.
I'll follow up on that because Detroit now is 7-0 when scoring the first goal of the game inside the first 10 minutes of a hockey game. 7-0. So when they get off to the hop, then they can use that left wing lock. So that will be a key certainly for Hextall.
All right, this should be a fun game to watch. Be sure you stick around for us at the drop of the puck again at 8:12. Gary and Bill coming up, and we'll get back to Joe Louis Arena in just a moment.
Hans, it's nice to see you settle down finally with 2 searing 8-point drops. You were smoking, as we say here.
Thank you, but pain is nothing.
What's the biggest difference between Joe Ball over here and back home?
There, the field is much hotter, but here, the beer is much colder.
Of course, hot coals will do that to a field, and frost brewing will do that to Coors Light. Well, I guess you're stuck on the bench for the rest of the game.
Actually, bench is stuck on me. I've melted the vinyl.
Know how to throw a party in the Stanley Cup Finals here in Detroit. Fireworks, smoke, and everything. Now, Philadelphia, we talk about goaltending changes. What other changes must they make?
Terry Murray said they're going to change their forechecking system. They're going to try and be passive. They're going to attack only way to get a chance to try and create some more turnovers. He thinks this may work a little bit.
And, you know, Detroit wasn't happy with the way they played the last 15 minutes of Game 2. They felt that they were way too passive as a hockey club. I would expect them to be on their toes, keeping the puck in deep, causing a lot of troubles for Philadelphia as well.
We will find out in just a moment if that's what happens. We will see between periods to break down what happened in the first period. Enjoy the game. This one promises to be a big one. Right now, let's check in with the gentlemen who call the game, Gary Thorne and Bill Clement.
Eric Lindros and the rest of the Philadelphia Flyers have said for the last day and a half, we're relaxed, we're still confident. But you know, inside, they've got to be wondering as they come to Detroit, down 2-0. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. I don't know much about history, and I wouldn't give a nickel for all the history in the world. History is more or less bunk. It is tradition. We want to live in the present, and the only history that is worth a tinker's damn is the history we make today. called Detroit Hockey Town for nothing. This city is truly cup crazy. Everywhere you go, everything you see is about the Detroit Red Wings. You think they aren't excited with this team coming home, leading in the series 2-0? Well, you just listen to this crowd here at the Joe in Detroit tonight. Welcome, everybody. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Flyers and the Red Wings. While Henry Ford's comments may have been appropriate as far as how Detroit feels about this game because they ain't won nothing yet, history indeed has been on Detroit's side. They learned 2 years ago when they were swept by New Jersey how to win. They saw what a team has to do to get their names on the cup. Bill Clement, that is what they are doing, almost the flip opposite. The machine is now Detroit.
Yeah, Gary, if anybody expected the Detroit Red Wings to make any changes coming into Game 3 here, shame on you. You haven't been paying attention. They're 2-0. They have dominated in a couple of games. There will be no changes. Mike Vernon will be in goal. The same lineup. We'll have Larry Murphy and Nicky Lidstrom matched up against Eric Lindros and the Legion of Doom. So the defense-first system of Detroit always is their priority. And they've been able to execute that so perfectly in the first 2 games, I think, for a big reason. They have had an incredible 99 minutes and 38 seconds of lead time. The Flyers have had 0. The first goal in this hockey game will be big. The Detroit Red Wings know their game plan is perfect when they get it. The Flyers really want to take this Joe crowd out of the scene. One of the keys for the Detroit Red Wings and their success has really been that they've mixed it up. It hasn't been the same guys.
For Philadelphia, in Game 1, Hextall started. His coach said he gave up a goal that cost the team momentum. In Game 2, Snow started. His coach said he gave up a goal that cost the team momentum.
I think Garth Snow and Ron Hextall have both suffered from the same problem in this series so far. In Game 1, it was Ron Hextall that let in a goal that was stoppable. Garth Snow went in Game 2. He let in a goal that was stoppable. Terry Murray has said that it's going to be Ron Hextall from here on out. But Garth Snow is going to have to sit and watch while Ron Hextall takes over now. And Ron Hextall doesn't have to necessarily steal this hockey game. What Ron Hextall has to do, number 1, stop the stoppable shot, and number 2, if he can, end up making the big save when called upon. But Ron Hextall said something interesting this morning. He said, you know what? It'd be really nice to have a lead.
For the second game in a row, Bill, what Detroit is doing is forcing the adjustments to be made by Philadelphia.
Hey, Gary, one of the big talks that we talked about was about the forecheck and how the Flyers needed to get the play down low. They haven't been able to do that. And Terry Murray, the Flyers coach for the last 2 days, has talked about obstruction. He said, we're being tackled, we're being hooked, we're being held. He might have a point, but everybody does it in the playoffs. But this is what he is talking about. We take you back to Game 2 when the Flyers still tried to get the puck in deep. And Chris Therien did. Who's going to forecheck? Well, it was supposed to be Dinah Zubras, but that was Brendan Shanahan holding him up. And on this particular play, to add insult to injury, Brendan Shanahan went down on a 2-on-1 and scored a goal. Expect the Flyers tonight to change their game plan. I think they're going to send one man in, lock the wings, try to match the patience level of Detroit.
That's going to require an even greater effort by the forwards of Philadelphia to get to that puck first. Player introductions before the crowd at the Joe and Bud Lidge.
And now let's meet the Eastern Conference champion Philadelphia Flyers and your Western Conference champion Detroit Red Wings. From the Philadelphia Flyers, number 30, Garth Snow. Number 6, Chris Therien. Number 8, Michel Petit. Number 15, Pat Falloon. Number 17, Rod Brind'amour. Number 18, Dale Howarchuk. Number 19, Mikhail Renberg. Number 20, Trent Clack. Number 25, Sean Podine. Number 26, John Bruce. Number 28, Shell Samuelson. Number 29, Joel Otto. Number 37, Eric Desjardins. 48, Colin Forbes. And now from the Detroit Red Wings, number 30, Chris Osgood. Number 2, Vyacheslav Patisa. Number 3, Bob Rouse. Number 8, Igor Lariana. Number 13, Vyacheslav Kozlov. Number 14, Brendan Shanahan. Number 16, Vladimir Konstantinov. Number 17, Doug Brown. Number 19, Steve Eisenman. Number 20, Martin Lapointe. Number 26, Joe Kocher. Number 27, Aaron Ward. Number 28, Thomas Sandstrom. Number 91, Sergei Fedorov. And now tonight's starting lineup. From the Philadelphia Flyers, in goal, number 27, Ron Hextall. On defense, number 24, Carl Dykhouse. On defense, number 44, Yanni Nanuma. And left wing, number 10, John Leclerc. Right wing, number 9, Degas Zubris. At center, number 88, Eric Lindros. The head coach of the Flyers, Terry Murray. The assistant coaches, Keith Acton, Dave Brown. The starting lineup for your Detroit Red Wings. In goal, number 29, Mike Vernon. On defense, number 5, Nicholas Lidstrom. On defense, number 55, Larry Murphy. Left wing, number 18, Kirk Maltby. Right wing, number 25, Darren McCarty. At center, number 33, Chris Draper. The head coach of the Red Wings, Scotty Bowman. The assistant coaches, Mike Krustinitsky, Dave Lewis, and Barry Smith.
as they are ready to go. Game 3 from the Joe in Detroit, where the Red Wings have a 2-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals. Who's going to get their names on there? These two, Eisenman and Shanahan. 2 goals each here in this series. Hextall makes his second start, and looking for his first ever Finals playoff goal, Eric Lindros.
Coolest game on earth is getting a little crazy.
Oh, did you see that? Wow, is this a wild and loving one? What a save! Oh, mercy! Do you believe it? I don't believe it. Holy moly! Oh, man! Holy Toledo! Wow!
It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
What a play! What a show!
And you got to get cup crazy.
It doesn't get any better than this, baby!
ESPN's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change, and by the U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be.
Well, they have been waiting for this for so many years. A chance to win the Stanley Cup one more time. They've got the opportunity. The man behind the bench, Scotty Bowman, Brian Ingram.
Yeah, Gary, Stanley Cup playoffs, winning is everything. And, you know, sometimes the players forget that winning is fun. Scotty Bowman used to say to us, you're a hero for 24 hours. Enjoy it, roll around in it, and then forget about it. I looked at his team yesterday. They enjoyed themselves. But tonight, they're going to forget about it because there's 20 guys in Philadelphia Flyers uniforms that want to be heroes. If they're not, Detroit is 48 hours away from the summer of their lives. And time's running out. Gary Thorne?
Huge hockey game with Mike Vernon, a story that's hardly become one yet. He's not even supposed to be in there, and yet Vernon is getting the job done for these Detroit Red Wings every single game.
It is the thing that dreams are made of. That's what Mike Vernon is going through right now.
We are underway in Game 3. Philadelphia, more pressure, especially from their forwards. Get Leclerc and Lindros back into the offensive game. Detroit just wants to keep on doing what they've been doing. Shipped up by Lindros into the bench, into the seats rather. That'll get the first whistle of the game.
The one thing that the Flyers might end up relying on is their strength on the road. You can see that they are 6-1, best in the NHL on the road. But the Detroit scouts have brought back the notification to the Detroit coaching staff that Terry Murray and his Flyers are indeed a better team on the road than they are in Philadelphia. So Detroit has to be prepared for a better Flyers team than they faced in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia down 2-0. Home ice losses. Only 2 teams have ever come back to win a Stanley Cup when that's happened. They've got to start it right here if they're going to be the third. Tipped in by Leclerc. Murphy going back in. Lidstrom who've been out there against this Legion of Doom line and Lindros throughout the first 2 games. We'll get the matchup again. Zubris is out there on that line with Leclerc and Lindros. Off the way at center. A forechecking game and center ice tanglement by Detroit has caused Philadelphia a ton of problems and has allowed them 1 even strength goal in 2 games. Again, the intercepting attempt to get it in. This Philadelphia again couldn't do it. Maltby backhands that one to the wide side. Sergei Fedorov waits. Fedorov cleared it in near side for McCarty. Bounced off his skates. Dykhouse. Dykhouse trying to clear it up. Couldn't. Dumped back in again. Dykhouse giving chase. Maltby has gone back on him and hit Dykhouse after he got rid of it. Both teams in their first line changes here in the game. Philly will do it right now as they send it in. Slava Fetisov puts it back in behind the net. Fetisov will wait here. Line changes have been made. Fedorov is out there with Kozlov and Doug Brown on this line for Detroit. Here's Brown trying to whip that one in. Couldn't. Went back to the line to Otto. Otto couldn't get it out. Fedorov ran it in. On Hextall. Desjardins deflected it the other way. Right at the top of the goal mouth.
Yeah, and we got to look at the Flyers' patience on that play. Because Detroit set up behind their net, the Flyers moved back to the neutral zone and tried to kind of go on a trap. Detroit still penetrated.
Here's Fedorov, and that's going to be a 2-line pass. Will be whistled right there. Just underway. Great to have you with us here in Detroit for Game 3.
Well, amazingly, Scotty Bowman chose at the beginning of this series to match up Larry Murphy along with Nicholas Lidstrom against the Philadelphia Flyers Legion of Doom. I say amazingly because, you know, a lot of coaches would have tried to hide Larry Murphy from that line because they are so physical, because they're so strong down low. But Nicholas Lidstrom and Larry Murphy's puck-moving abilities have really kept Eric Lindros, John Leclerc, and Dinus Zubris from getting that down low game going. And John LeClaire and Eric Lindros, though, have instructions about Larry Murphy tonight. The Flyers feel they've let Larry Murphy off the hook. They want him finished. When he passes the puck, go right at him and bang him. Colorado didn't do it. The Flyers have not done it yet in this series.
In fact, though, we've commented after every game here how the two veterans, Larry Murphy and Slava Fetisov, have virtually been able to skate at will without having to pay a price for it in this entire playoff year.
And that's why they end up looking young, and they've done a fabulous job looking young.
Larry Murphy's a fabulous +6 in this series alone and a +12 in the playoffs, second best. Only to Chris Terry in a Philadelphia, who's a +15 in that department. That is number 1. At center, Brendan Shanahan had it knocked away. Renberg dumped it off. Brind'amour's coming in alone. Brind'amour 2 goals in that last game in the first period. Dumped back out the center, just a good stand-up check.
And he was able to do it. That was Konstantinov. He knew he had 2 people coming back. That is one of the keys to Detroit's success. People like Konstantinov can stand up and bang people because he knows if he misses them, he's got people covering.
Vernon played that even though he had a man right in front of him. Kind of surprised at John LeClaire. Here's Lindros. He's double shifted already. Lindros centering. Back up to the point. Open shot. That one ripped wide. Good opportunity for Michel Petit, who's playing. Petit in for just the second time in the playoffs because Paul Coffey is a scratch tonight for Philadelphia. Coffey out of there with a minor concussion, is not here in Detroit. Let's check in with our own netminder, Darren Pay.
Thanks very much, Gary. And the 2 goaltenders for tonight's game, no surprise in Detroit, but on the visiting side again, of course, Ron Hextall started this series. He lost game 1. Garth Snow goes in for game 2. Ron Hextall in goal again for the Philadelphia Flyers. Right now, after getting the second game off, he's 4-1. The goals against average of 2.5. The Red Wings are going to test his side-to-side movement and his patience in goal. Now for Mike Vernon, he has been absolutely brilliant. Quiet brilliance for Mike Vernon, 14-4. He has more wins now in the playoffs, fellas, than he did the entire regular season when he ended with 13.
Second time he's done that, and the last time was with Calgary, and he won a Stanley Cup on that occasion. He has been so solid. We talked about Philadelphia and how well they played on the road. Detroit is 7-1 at home.
Yeah.
Their goals against at home is 1.25.
Yeah, very often teams really, they get a little loose at home. The crowd gets them too into it, and they don't think clearly in a defensive system way. But Detroit made believers out of me in Game 6 against Colorado when they played like a machine and just took Colorado out.
Scotty Bowman's one concern this morning, he said, was whether or not they'd be able to keep that discipline here at home. Otto the shot, saved by Vernon. Picked up in the middle, looking for a little open ice. Tomas Sandstrom, he'll lead the charge. He'll take the shot, deflected out deep. Sandstrom centered, Hextall played it away off the near side board. Joel Otto's got it. Otto out there with Platt and Sean Podine on this line for Philadelphia. Aaron Ward chases down. Both teams change it up. Quickly up ice. Sandstrom will gun that one in. Sandstrom looking for his first goal of the playoff year. Tipped away at center. Yzerman had it lost at the balloon. Lidstrom drops it back to Murphy. Line changes completed for both teams. The big cross ice flip into the zone to Maltby. Maltby, great poke check by Dykhouse, who went diving on the ice with an opponent skates. Maltby coming right at his head. Cleared back up for Maltby again. Tipped in. Hextall had to play it side of the net. Samuelson near side. How much will Shel Samuelson play or be forced to play in this game tonight because Coffey's up?
And he's not 100%, no question about it. Like Ron Hextall, one thing he did well in the first period of game 1, the game he played, he really jump-started the rush for Philadelphia.
Round side Murphy. Murphy the shot. Deflected. Came through a screen, but not on net. Flip back out. Shot on. Hextall save. Rebound. Simon Draper. Rebound off the side of the net. Draper with a great chance. Hextall a save. Shot by Nicholas Lidstrom. Was tipped in front, but high by Maltby. Philadelphia trying to clear. They'll get it up the center. Pat Balloon lost it to Maltby. Shots are just 2-1 in favor of Detroit. Murphy in. Murphy forced to come back to center. Doug Brown's down deep, so they've got to rag it back. Nicholas Lidstrom cleared it ahead, and they'll send it in and change.
And there's Shel Samuelson taking Kurt Maltby. Now we'll go for the change. Samuelson got caught out there way too long, but he couldn't do anything about it. He's a right D, so he's a long way from the bench, and Detroit kept the heat on.
There's a long way back for that change for him.
Absolutely.
He was sucking air to get there. Shot on, deflected wide in behind the net. Fire side, loose, couldn't be held onto by the rookie forwards. Here they come again. Shanahan 2-on-1. Dropped it. Shot. That one went wide. May have been deflected out front. Great opportunity, Martin Lapointe. Defenseman Desjardins down in front may have gotten a piece of that as it went in on a 2-on-1 and an odd man rush again for Philadelphia that they've been able to capitalize on in the first 2 games. Konstantinov cleared it around, paid for it, though, as he took a hit from Forbes, the rookie, playing his 2nd game. Fedorov again brought it in. Pope checked away at center, knocked away by Lindros. Faced down by LaPointe. LaPointe backs it up for Shanahan. Philadelphia changing up behind the play. Near side, Fedorov. Fedorov waiting for some help. Detroit changing as well. Fedorov goes in alone. Off the bench they come. Shot! Great save by Hextall. Rebound loose in the slot. McCarty couldn't get it sprawling. Darren McCarty came off the bench on the right wing. Got a tremendous blast in off the pads of Ron Hextall. In the middle, Zubris. His chance wide. Rebound Leclerc. Ooh, Leclerc got level and a penalty coming on Detroit. Leclerc got interfered with on the near side because he was wide open. That is going to be the call right here. And the first power play of the game is going to go to Philadelphia. Well, in the first 2 games of this series, it was Detroit getting on the board within the first 7 minutes. They've not been able to do that yet against Ron Hextall in Game 3.
Well, Detroit had a 2-on-1 moments ago. Here's how it happened. The Flyers had their 3 forwards in deep. But look at Chris Terry, and he's getting picked from behind here, and he doesn't know that it's happening until it's too late. Steve Yzerman squirted it loose and sent his 2 line mates away on this 2-on-1. Shanahan and Marty LaPointe. Ron Hextall got that one. He made the save on that one. Then the Flyers came down to the other end. John Leclerc to the side of the net was interfered with. That was Darren McCarty that came back to take him. Kerry Fraser was about 15 feet away.
So McCarty goes at 6'10" on the interference. He thought that pass was going to come right across the goal mouth. He wanted to get to Leclerc before the puck did, but the puck never even came that way. And a power play, 3 for 9 on the power play in this series for the Philadelphia Flyers. They've scored 3 of the 4 goals they've been able to get off the power play, so it's been very important for them to be effective.
Yeah, unless they can get their 5-on-5 game going, they're going to have to win games with the power play.
Lindros. He's got that tiger's eye going. Nienema tried to back it in, could not. Short-handed chance the other way. One defenseman got caught back, but Lindros covered. Shot Yzerman short-handed. Will be deflected back to Desjardins, and he will turn it back up. Here in the playoff year for Philadelphia, you see what they've done on the power play. Game 1 and Game 2. Opportunities. And the first one in this game goes to them. Detroit scored first in the first 2. Desjardins deflected. Leclerc scores! Power play goal, John Leclerc! And for the first time in the 3 games, it's the Flyers who take a 1-0 lead.
And they do it again on the power play, and they do it with their strength, which is their big forwards in front of the net looking for a rebound. Eric Desjardins picked up a good pass from John Leclerc. I mean, that was a neat bank shot off the boards by Leclerc. And look at how Desjardins moved to the middle to try to set up the screen. Nobody picked up John Leclerc. Detroit has done a pretty good job of tying up John Leclerc's stick. I've shown you a number of times how they're not going to move him, so they try to tie up the stick. But both defensemen moved up a little bit on the play and let Leclerc get in behind him. And Mike Vernon left the rebound. That is exactly what the Flyers wanted to have happen on the play.
It is the first lead that they have had in the 3 games. The previous 3 power play goals had all been scored by Rod Brind'amour. The goal is under review. Kerry Fraser, the referees come over, but that's just a check now that's done almost automatically. It is good, and it is a 1-0 lead for the Philadelphia Flyers as John Leclerc gets one home.
First lead of the series, and it's pretty important. You take a look at the Flyers' record in the playoffs when scoring first, just 9-1. That's very, very big. And depending on how long they hang on to the lead, or depending on how big the lead gets, that shakes Detroit possibly out of their tight defensive game plan.
And only the second Philadelphia player who has scored here in this series, with Brind'amour having 3 here, and now the couple that have been picked up by Leclerc. Philadelphia wants to get some other of their people involved in the offense. Sent back in. They pick it up on their 3rd shot of the game on the power play for the 1-0 lead. That will end up going over the glass and out of play with 12:40 left to go here in the first. The goal coming at 7:03. Leclerc from Desjardins and Brind'amour.
Michigan Fox rocks!
And Detroit is rocking as they've got a big weekend coming. Here in this great state of Michigan, the Professional Bowlers Tour starts the day with the Greater Detroit Open. ABC will have that at 3 o'clock. Then at 5, you'll see the ESPN spotlighting the LPGA second-round coverage of the Oldsmobile Classic. And 7:30, we've got Game 4. All coming up here in Detroit, Michigan. Play back in behind the net. A 1-0 lead up for the Flyers. Shots are even at 3-3 early on. Philadelphia indeed has come out, as Bill said. showing some patience early on that we did not see in the first 2 games.
And I didn't expect to see Terry Murray really rolling 6 defensemen over, even this early in the game. And Barry Melrose talked about it in the Quest show, about how he might go with 4. We thought he would go with 4, and that keeps his 3 best defensemen on the ice most of the time. But he's rolled his 3 pairs over, 6D.
He's playing Michel Petit with Dykhouse early on here. This will be an icing call. Terry going back on the touch. Took the hit, really didn't like it very much. Therrien took that shot back there. Michel Petit came back. Tomas Sastra, the man who moved in. So there you see Philadelphia in the playoffs scoring within the first 10. They have won in 13 of the 18 games. They have been able to do that, and when they do, it opens the game up for them.
And Terry Murray has to be hoping that at least a few of the Red Wings have been reading the headlines, because it's all parade planning and sweep, get out the broom because it's going to be a sweep. And the Detroit Red Wings are a focused bunch of guys, but Terry Murray has to hope that they're looking at the headlines. And this is one of the reasons. You're looking at Peter Svoboda. One of the reasons that the Flyers are undermanned on the blue line, especially on the power play, with Paul Coffey and Peter Svoboda out of the lineup. Don't be surprised if you see Eric Lindros on the point of the power play tonight for Philadelphia.
Sent in by Shanahan into the corner. Hextall will wander to play that. Got it up on the boards, not out. Second attempt. Flyers will get it out of there. Hextall could make a difference in playing that puck on those dump-ins. Off the back of the net, it was loose. Near side to Shanahan. Shanahan turns it up. Philadelphia's got 3 back. Shanahan will send it in. Larionov in the middle here, giving chase. Therrien got in front of him. Shanahan moved over, tried to block it, couldn't. Near side, Nicholas Lidstrom. Lidstrom sent it down the near side board. Shanahan whacked away. Larionov got it. Renberg tied him up. Martin Lapointe drops it back to the point. Shot there. Penalty coming. It's going to be on Philadelphia. Delayed call. Touch. Centered. Rolls back. Still no whistle on it. Yzerman just came up, but brind'amour got there first. And the power play now is going to go to the Detroit Red Wings. Gary Fraser, a referee, 21 years in the NHL, refereeing in his 8th Stanley Cup Finals.
You know, we mentioned in our open that Terry Murray has been complaining about obstruction by the Detroit Red Wings. Virtually everybody does it in the playoffs. But I talked to Brian Burke, vice president of the NHL, before the game, and he said, we do not feel that there has been excessive obstruction in the playoffs, or we would have done something about it. And he said, anyway, if there is any obstruction tonight, Terry Murray's got a referee on the ice named Kerry Fraser that will call it if he sees it.
I didn't think we'd seen much in the first 2 games, have we?
Typical. I think it's typical. It's rather standard.
I mean, the holding guys up at center,
but it's really the way Detroit has done it so well with their left-wing lockback and their 4th and 5th men coming back. It has been frustrating for the Flyers. I think Terry Murray was doing what a lot of coaches do and trying to draw somebody's attention to it. Hopefully the officials. Hopefully Kerry Fraser.
Well, he did that against the Rangers. After they'd lost the game, came back in the next game and won it and got some power plays out of it. Now, maybe it didn't happen because of that, but nevertheless, he made the point. Penalty here to Desjardins on the hold at 8:44. Detroit's power play goes to work. It finally got a goal in the last game to break an over 21 streak that they had been in. But Detroit here in this series, only the 1 power play goal, 1 for 8, and 1 for their last 23. That'll be sent in around for Dykhouse, the defenseman. Couldn't get it out. Kozlov held it in. Detroit will set the power play up with Yzerman in the middle. There he is. Yzerman shot. Score! Steve Yzerman!
Forecheck by Detroit on a dump-in. Shell Samuelson tried to hold his man up, Darren McCarty, and he had a hook on him. I mean, you got to try and obstruct a little bit, but the Red Wings blew through the holdups, got the forecheck going, got the puck back, and then the Flyers never covered anybody in the slot named number 19. Here's Kozlov. He'll move it right to Steve Yzerman, wide open in the slot, and Shell Samuelson went down to try to stop it. He may have even deflected it wide and by Ron Hextall. Steve Yzerman had time even to tee it up and launch it. I'm not sure whether it glanced off of Shell Samuelson, but Ron Hextall looked like it changed direction. He looked like he made a look as if it changed direction. Doesn't matter. Perfect execution by the Red Wings, and they've tied it.
So each team has got a power play goal in this game, and their captain, Steve Yzerman, has 3 goals now in this series and 7 in the playoffs. Taken back by Fetisov, and this game's tied at 1. Hit by Zubras. Fetisov over. Swings it off the near side boards. Detroit has done a lot of that rink-wide passing in order to get the puck up ice in a hurry. Zubras again the hit. Trying to get it out to Draper. Draper. Lindros again has to come back and cover for the D. Near side. Fetisov. Shot deflected wide. Lindros was out there banging bodies with Maltby. And there is some hitting going on. Cleared around by Joey Kosa. Lindros the shot. Wide through everybody. Chris Carrion. Carrion held it in. Centering pass knocked away by Constantino. Far side, Joey Kosa will get it up. And Detroit will change it up. We are midway through this first period. Each team's going to power play goal. Detroit's coming at 9:03. Yzerman from Kozlov. 46th career playoff goal for Steve Yzerman. That Philadelphia lead lasted for 2 minutes. Exactly. In the corner, jammed up by Rouse. Konstantinov reaching in, trying to dig the puck out of there. Yzerman was there trying to get it. Yzerman coming behind the net does get it. And Steve Yzerman turns it up. Yzerman dropped it off the near side. Big hard skating here by Detroit. They are really rushing that puck up ice. McCarty, they hit on the far side. Ian Terriot held in momentarily, not long enough. Good effort by Tomas Sandstrom, though. At center, Pat Falloon will dump that one in.
No, Gary, I think the most underrated thing in this series so far has been Detroit's forechecking. We've been closely watching the Flyers attempt to get their forechecking game going, but the Detroit Red Wings, I think, have forechecked well in both games. And it's partly because the Flyers don't play a left wing lock. They don't always have 3 men back. So the Red Wings are able to dump it in and then get a forward loose to go after it.
That has resulted in some of those odd man rushes that we have seen in these games. Detroit had 5 of them and scored 3 goals on odd man rushes in the first game. Detroit got 3 more in game 2 and scored another goal off it. They've tied this one up at 1-1. Not a lot of shots, though. 5-3 in favor of Detroit midway through.
Incoming. There's Darren McCarty. Top power forward. He has played the most physical series from a Detroit Red Wings standpoint. That was Eric Desjardins. He saw him coming, was able to get his arms up to kind of act like shock absorbers.
This is the one area where Philadelphia has dominated in the first couple of games. Face-offs. They lose it. Fedorov. Shot. Score! Another turnover!
Classified as an odd man rush goal. That is 5 odd man rush goals for the Detroit Red Wings in this series. Breakdowns for the Flyers have cost them every time. Fedorov made them pay on that one. There was a bobble at the blue line, and as soon as the bobble happened and it was Carl Dykhouse, he was trying to move it up to the middle. Sergei Fedorov made him pay, and he's so quick. You almost can't take your time like that. Carl Dykhouse was out of the lineup in game 1. He's been struggling with his confidence. That's where he has to say, I'm not that confident. I got Fedorov bearing down on me. I got to move it immediately. He did not, and it cost him.
Detroit, every single opportunity given to them, they have taken advantage of. Larionov in the middle. He comes back, and they are flying through center ice. Doug Brown shot. Save made by Hextall with Larionov charging in. With that even strength goal, Detroit has now outscored Philadelphia even strength 7-1 in the 2+ games that have been played. The goal picked up by Sergei Fedorov is unassisted. Came at 11:05. He now has 7 goals this playoff year. It is indeed Hockey Town. Detroit has long loved the NHL game for good reason. There have been 7 Stanley Cups won here, but they've waited since 1955 to welcome the Cup back again. They are within 2 games of being able to do that. Carrion's got it back in behind the net, a 2-1 lead for the Red Wings with 8:13 to go here in the first period. Shots are 8-3 in favor of Detroit. On the near side boards, Fetisov poke checked it away. Konstantinov will come back to get it. Konstantinov in his own end. Martin Lapointe dumped it. Shanahan in the middle. Shanahan will gun it in. Red Wings lining a guy up along the board at center ice. He comes across, takes the first pass, and gets it in. They've just done that here in these 3 games.
Ron Hextall has not been able to get any of the jump-ins. The hard arounds like that one by Shanahan, soft dumps to the corner. Ron Hextall has not been able to jump-start the rush because he hasn't gotten to any of the Detroit dump-ins.
Now, Kerry Fraser's watching for the very kind of thing that Terry Murray was concerned with, and he's called an interference here. We remind you, ABC's coverage of the Detroit Grand Prix. Coming up Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Time, Michael Andretti is the defending champion, and he'll be joining us here at the end of our first intermission. He is a huge hockey fan, a Philadelphia Flyer hockey fan. There is Michael Andretti, who will be trying to defend in the Detroit Grand Prix on ABC on Sunday.
He's smart enough not to wear his Flyers jersey here.
Yes. Very smart man. Batiste off the interference at 12:14. Second power play of the game coming up.
Slava Fetisov had that one go by him, and then when Eric Lindros decided he wanted to just blow by him, he was held. But Eric Lindros made that look real good by keeping both hands on his stick so that when Fetisov grabbed him, it spun him around. If Eric Lindros takes his right hand off his stick, all Fetisov gets is his arm, and he can't torque him around like he did.
Well, Kerry Fraser, if he's going to call that, he is going to call things very closely on the ice for this game.
Looks like it.
Because that is a call that rarely would be made. That, of course, is the way Kerry usually referees games. He's very consistent in that regard on calling the interference calls. And one back by Lindros. Power play. Eric Lindros right between the wickets on that one. Held in on the far side to the middle. Omar Sandstrom tried to get it out. Could not. Banged off the stick. Lidstrom up. Yanni Niemela held it in. Near side loose. Good play by Renberg. Renberg dropped it. Shot on here. Save made by Vernon. He'll hang on. Lindros is back along the point to take that shot.
Eric Lindros took the face-off on that last play inside the blue line, then it did a quick switch with Dale Hawerchuk, and he's playing the point on this power play. And the reason he is on the point of the power play because Peter Swoboda went down with a broken foot, and Paul Coffey in game 2 went down with a concussion. Swoboda's injury came in game 1.
Peter Swoboda, a huge loss here, kind of overpowered by Paul Coffey's name, but Swoboda could move that puck around even strength and on a power play as well as anybody in the league. Shot all the way in on Hextall at the other end. Now in this series, having scored the power play goal in their first chance, the Flyers 4 for 10. They've got a chance to tie this game up here. Minute 26 left on the advantage. Desjardins, brind'amour got knocked down. Lindros came in behind him, and another penalty. And Kerry Fraser indeed is going to call it close. That's another one of those holding, clutching, grabbing calls right at the blue line that you rarely see called. A two-man advantage coming up for Philadelphia.
Well, Kerry Fraser served notice with the call on Slava Fetisov that he was going to call it tight, and Tomas Sandstrom, I guess, thought he could get away with it because he was killing a penalty. And now Bowman's troops have 3 guys to kill a penalty with 5 Flyers ready to rock and roll out here. So this will be the biggest test of this game and possibly of the series for Detroit right here. Oh. Ron Brind'amour made that look pretty good too. It's almost as if, hey, listen, if you get grabbed, give a little pirouette. Go for it.
Scotty Bowman held his guys back for a moment there, staring out at Kerry Fraser, not saying anything to him. But clearly upset about these very close calls that have come early on. That will dictate how you play this game. Holding at 12:54. Face-off now and a 5-on-3 advantage for Philadelphia. Comes at the top of the circle on the right wing side. Lindros won it in. He made sure they held it in the zone by taking the draw deep. Double team behind the net was Eisen when he falls on top of it long enough to get a whistle. It'll come over to the face-off dot here to the left side of Mike Vernon.
And Eric Lindros has moved back to center with Desjardins and Needham on the point. But Eric Lindros has not played 3 straight games without scoring a goal. Looking at that now, this is game 3 of this series, and he's yet to score in this series. I think he might be buying a little time here.
Lindros and LeClaire had a -7 that last game as they struggled offensively.
But Eric Lindros really brought more of his physical game to the ice surface, and I think he's a better player when he's assertive. No, he can't run around looking for it, but he has to engage the opposition. It is only then that you can force guys to pass the puck a little quick.
He'll stay out there. Power play. Yanni Niemela back on top. Lindros right there in the middle. 2-man advantage knocked away by Vernon and out of the zone. Break for Detroit.
Yeah, that's why those sharp angle shots on a 5-on-3 are very tough because you're all pulled in as a power play unit, and if you miss the net or the goalie makes a save and the speed of the puck stays on it, it goes all the way around and out.
Brind'amour tried to get in, couldn't eyes him, and finds the hole, and it's cleared out. Sergei Fedorov put a little hook over there on the far side to create that out opportunity. Desjardins brings it in. Still a 5-on-3 for another 34 seconds. Detroit penalty killers getting it out of there, though. Good work by Nicholas Lidstrom, who held it up along the line. Brendan Shanahan up with a check. Larry Murphy was able to clear it out of there. Brought back in Yanni Nieminen. Two-man advantage. Lindros still there. Lindros turns it down low. 17 on the two-man. Lindros in center. Blocked. Outstanding clear. Oh, the defense down low.
Outstanding clear after an outstanding move by Eric Lindros, who beat Konstantinov on the far side with a great offensive move, and Larry Murphy bailed him out.
Desjardins, the shot deflected wide by Konstantinov after Murray blocked it. Now it's a 5-on-4, and Philadelphia can't hold it in. So Detroit has killed off the two-man advantage. Power play with 28 seconds left on it. 5-on-4 opportunity. Niederman, poke checked away. Again, they lose it to Draper. Draper, short-handed Detroit. Shanahan plays it safe. Dykhouse drops it back up. 15 left on the advantage for Philadelphia. Both teams changing up their specialty units. Dykhouse will send it on the harder route. Maltby kicks it away. Maltby comes back to the near side. It goes up and over the glass and into the seats. With only 1 second left on the power play. New Dodge intermission report. Just 5:07 playing time away. We'll have locker room reports from both the Wings and the Flyers. Ryan Ingram, Darren Pang will be on location along with Elmore Ganny. Panger will have a perspective as he breaks down the goalies and a Rod Brind'amour look-see.
Nothing on the power play for the Flyers, but a fantastic move by Eric Lindros that generated a chance. Watch this. When he looked like he was going to try to cut to the inside, and then he went outside around the board, centered in front, and Larry Murphy cut the pass.
Lindros playing in his first Stanley Cup Finals, of course, and looking for his first Finals goal. It is a 2-1 Detroit lead with a second left on the Philadelphia power play. Off this draw, it'll be one back to Fetisov, and Detroit's killed it off. So the Philadelphia Flyers do not convert. Shot on. Fedorov blocked out deep. Sergei Fedorov came back to get it tied up by Samuelson. Hextall came up to play that one. Held in by Fetisov, who was down low. He wants the face-off. No whistle on it, though. Dumped back to the wide side. Chase down. John Drews. Back for Samuelson. Samuelson played it up. Still not out of the zone here. Lindbergh poke checked away Fetisov to Samuelson. Now through center. There's that dump in that they're looking for their forwards to get to first. They don't. Kozlov beat John Drews, and then the speed of Detroit comes into play. Just like this. Kozlov trying to move it in. Puck checked away. Joe Lotto brings it up. Klatt in the middle with it. Over to Klatt. Trent Klatt. His pass intercepted by Eisenman. Cleared out.
There were 3 men backing up. Steve Eisenman was the 4th man back. The other forward was the 5th man back, McCarty. Detroit had 5 men back. There was no chance for that play to work.
They just are not making mistakes, as we said. Chased down here by Yanni Nieminen. He'll get the icing call and then land a little punch after the fact. No call coming on that one, however. Red Wings up 2-1. Our Dodge flashback for the Stanley Cup, 1955. Terry Sawchuk, Gordie Howe, Alex Del Vecchio, Coach Jimmy Skinner of Detroit. Last time Philadelphia 75 under Fred Sherrill. The Broad Street Bullies, Bobby Clark, Bernie Perron, and our own Bill Clement. Now last time these two franchises have had the opportunity to hoist the cup. Detroit's got the lead here. Sent hard around by Michel Petit. Yanni Nieminen moved over. Zubris gets the puck. His shot just deflected wide by Leclerc. Great effort by Leclerc. Larry Murphy on him. Leclerc trying to muscle it back into the middle. Cleared around and out of the zone. Joey Kosar got a piece. Nieminen back to Zubas. Zubas, the 18-year-old, sent it in. Nicholas Lidstrom, they had not cleared the zone. That's an offside. We'll check in with Ryan Ingram. Right?
Gary, you guys were just talking about Eric Lindros a few moments ago and what he's gone through physical play-wise so far in the series. Look what he's going through here tonight. And look what Detroit does to him in the neutral zone. Kurt Maltby out against him an awful lot of the time. There is no room for Eric Lindros. Look at this play. Fetisov ended up taking a penalty on this, but they didn't get burned. That's why Eric has no goals in this series. There's no room for him out there.
Yeah, absolutely right, Brian. Part of the Detroit game plan coming into this series was get on Eric Lindros, get on John LeClair, get on Dyna Zubas before they get those big bodies moving. And if you can do that, they'll never get that big head of steam up, and it's worked really well.
Good intercept that time by brind'amour. Backhander went wide. Cleared up. John Drew's trying to hold it in. Cannot. Marianov gave chase. Flicked away at center. Cleared ahead by Terrien again, who took a shot, and another penalty coming. There was a knee-to-knee. Terrien and Martin Lapointe. Terrien's up to set. He thought Lapointe came at him. I think Lapointe thought the same thing about Terrien.
I think it's Lapointe that's going, though, Gary. It looked like Carey Fraser pointed at Marty Lapointe.
So Philadelphia getting another advantage here on a power play on the tripping call, and Carey Fraser saying go away. Don't want to hear from anybody. Want to remind you, coverage of the Stanley Cup Finals Saturday, ESPN 7:30. Our quest for the Cup in Game 4 at 8. Necessity for a Game 5. Fox will have that one. Mike Emmerich and JD will bring it to you. That will be at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. Game 5 if necessary on Fox.
You can imagine why Chris Terrien was so sensitive about that hit. First of all, it was knee-to-knee, and he looked like he thought that Marty Lapointe had really taken a shot at him. But the whole team has to be concerned with that. With two defensemen out of the lineup, there it is, and you know, it wasn't really a knee, it was kind of a hip, but he did go low. He didn't go right down to the knees. He just went a little low on him. But the Flyers are already banged up on the blue line with two of their regulars out, Paul Coffey and Peter Svoboda. If another one goes down, I don't know what they do then.
Tripping at 16:43. This is the fourth power play for Philadelphia in this game. They scored on the first one, got the lead. It lasted for 2 minutes. Detroit came back, got a power play goal, and then an even strike to take the lead. 2:55 in the period. Yanni Nieminen dropped it off. Three back. Nieminen. Desjardins now. Nieminen sending it. LeClair, the intended block. Put back up to the point. Nieminen again. Detroit staying back tight in the box. Shot by Yanni Nieminen. In on Vernon. Covered it up as he was going down on his back.
Boy, Mike Vernon was cool on that one. He actually had the puck on his stick and pulled it towards the goal line, trusting his left arm. Well, he's attached to the left arm. I guess he knows what it's going to do as well as anybody. Pretty good penalty killing here by the Detroit Red Wings. The Flyers are moving it back and forth on the point. And if we stop right here for a second, you can see that they got this man isolated. They've got this man looked at. He's going to cut in. And then Konstantinov can actually play both of these Flyers players back here. See, Konstantinov dropped back in and took Eric Lindros, and then Detroit reacted perfectly again. I mean, their coverage was excellent. That shot got through, and remember, they're not going to try to move John LeClair in front, so the Flyers' philosophy has to be finesse is secondary. Go for the blue-collar goal. Go for the ugly goal. Just get it to the net like they scored their first goal. Let John LeClair fight for it.
They are 4 for 12 on the power play now. Red Wings able to clear that one out. Red Wings penalty-killing unit has been outstanding here the latter part of these playoffs over the last 2 series. Yanni Nieminen has to go back to get it. Detroit overall coming in now giving up 15 power play goals and 89 as chances in the playoffs. Again, Philadelphia having trouble getting the puck in to get it set up. Far side, brind'amour got it in his stick, lost it. It ends up going up and over the glass. The officials looking to see who that last went off. It'll stay in the zone. It went off to Detroit.
Well, if it hasn't come in the power play for the Flyers, it hasn't come but for one other goal, even strength. Flyers have now scored 5 goals in this series, 4 of them on the power play. Matter of fact, 8 of the last 12 goals have been scored on the power play for the Flyers. While that's nice to know that your power play is working, if you don't get regular goals scored at 5-on-5, generally you only get a couple of power play goals a game, and that's just not enough.
That's the other side of that coin we were talking about. The Detroit outscoring them 7-1 when it comes to even strength goals here. 2:03 left to go in the first period. Face off, Draper, and it's cleared out to center. Big effort there by Dale Howard. Chuck Fraser tied him up to roll free. Yanni Neiman on the near side looking for some help. Howard Chuck is in the middle. Lindros comes back to pick up the puck. Lindros, Renberg, Howard Chuck out there up front on the power play. They'll get it set up at 28 on the advantage. Neiman, Lindros inside. Renberg shot was blocked. Mike Vernon continues to get help from his D, and it's cleared out of the zone. Nicholas Lidstrom got a stick on it.
Another underrated play by Nicholas Lidstrom. You can't count the number of underrated plays he makes in a game on all your fingers and all your toes. He's got a great stick. I mean, his stick is always in the line of fire, and it always is lined up with the puck, and he gets a piece of just about everything.
That did not come outside the line. Renberg held it in. The shot. Berman just knocks it down. It came loose. Right there to clear it out. Fedorov. Here comes Martin Lapointe. He hit the post. Lapointe came out of the penalty box and hit the post. Here's Fedorov. Fedorov drops it. Lapointe in front again. The shot. Score! Martin Lapointe!
You can get away with it once, and you hope for the post, and the Flyers got the post. But Martin Lapointe, who I think has hit more goal posts in the playoffs than any player I've seen, made him pay. Eric Lindros was out there on defense as a point man on the power play, and he was back in front of the net. And that is one of the things that really cost the Flyers. Here is the hit post. But Eric Lindros and Chris Therien don't play defensively in their zone very much. And you'll notice that they're both right in front of Ron Hextall. Three of them, as a matter of fact. Both Chris Therien, Michael Renberg, and Eric Lindros. Eric Lindros actually vacated the front of the net. Renberg tried to cover for him, but because neither of those guys, Renberg or Leclerc, Renberg and Eric, they're not defensemen, they really didn't know how to react, and Marty Lapointe smartly moved right into the shooting hole and banged it home.
Unless something changes here in this series, history will show that Detroit's speed played an enormous part in what they were able to do against the Flyers. They've got a 3-1 lead with 47 seconds left to go. You cannot blame Ron Hextall, the netminder of Philadelphia, for the goals that have been scored in this period.
No, you can't. And Detroit has come out and really tested Ron Hextall. The Detroit team is a very coachable team. They listen. They were told, try the long ones. Go ahead and test Ron Hextall from all angles. And they have done that. And he has stopped most of the shots that were stoppable. But this pass here, and it was a nicely laid out in front for Marty Lapointe. But you can see that there were three Flyers back in deep in confusion between Lindros and Renberg. Neither of them was a defenseman. They were trying to cover. Really what happened there was Eric Lindros. Somebody had to notify Eric Lindros to get off the ice earlier than that because the power play had ended. When you get caught in your own end on one of those plays, it's scary. And sometimes you pay it. The Flyers paid there.
Brent Klatt got it back 3-on-2 down low. In front. Big pile up. Jammed at. It's somewhere in that pile, but it's not across the goal line. At least according to Kerry Fraser. Sean Podine had the chance on the far side.
He thinks it's in.
Trying to jam it home. It went underneath all those folks that were down on the ice.
You can read Sean Podine's lips. He said, that was in. That was in.
Kerry Fraser's going to call upstairs.
Boy, we've got so many camera angles. And all you hope for in a situation like this is that there is a real definitive answer that is accurate. That's what you got to have happen here, one way or the other. From our goal cam, in behind Mike Vernon. Here comes the play. Joel Otto put it to the net. Everybody's just jamming the net. Flyers have not done that very much in this series. Where is it? Can you see it? Haven't seen it yet.
It hit the post, but you couldn't tell whether it went across the line.
Here's another look at it. Joel Otto followed up on the play. It did hit the post, and it did come back out. I don't know. Could not tell from that angle. But we did see it hit the post. We did see it come back out. But Mike Vernon looked like he caught it in the crook of his arm and brought it back towards the net.
Tomas Sandstrom is the man who was standing behind Vernon, who was blocking that puck from going in, and you could read his lips. He was looking up saying, no goal, no goal. Looking right at Kerry Fraser, and there is no goal.
He was on his knees, Sandstrom was, just like he used to do in ball hockey. When he was a kid, just get on your knees and just take all of the tennis ball shots you can handle.
There were two reasons for being on your knees there. One was to make a save. The other was to pray, in fact, you had gotten it done.
And then the third reason was to stay down and give thanks.
Yes.
No, it sure doesn't look. He got a lot of help. Look at all the Detroit Red Wings back in there. But this is why the Flyers, if they can penetrate the zone, have to play against Detroit because of their left wing lock, because of their people back. Joel Otto, Sean Bodine, and Trent Klatt were such a huge factor, especially Trent Klatt with the hitting game against the New York Rangers. Trent Klatt has not been able to get the big hitting game going here against Detroit.
Philadelphia trying to hold it in. Again, the Red Wings come 3-on-2 for the moment. Drop back, Lidstrom, shot saved by Hextall. It's loose. Cleared up the near side, and Lindros got it out. As Zubras was there to clear the zone. That last goal by Lapointe at the 19-minute mark. His first of this series, third of the playoffs from Brown and Fedorov, and Detroit will take a 3-1 lead to the dressing room at the end of the first period of Game 3. The playoffs this year, Kozlov and Shanahan pick up the assists, and a 4-1 lead, and Detroit has now gone 2 for 2 on the power play in this game after they had struggled at an 0 for 20 going into the last game. Philadelphia, see if they pick up the physical part of the game, see if they can stay disciplined now with 16:25 to go in this second period and down by 3 goals. Kjell Samuelsson out there with Dykhouse defensively. Back into the middle, Yzerman. Pushed off the puck by Eric Lindros. Here's John LeClaire. LeClaire's got a goal. Shot. Berman! Wow! Quick stop as he deflected that with a stick into the corner. But he saw it all the way. Centering pass. Zubras couldn't get it. And it's cleared away to center. Chris Therien comes back to get it. And that'll be whistled on the offside.
Well, the Detroit Red Wings just keep playing like a machine. Defensively, their goaltending, and now offensively. We've got 4 goals. We're not even halfway through this hockey game. Sergei Fedorov on the rebound from a Kozlov shot. It's coming easier and easier for them.
Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and our crew, and welcome back. Will they hang another banner? Well, the way they're playing right now, it's hard to believe they won't, but it's only Game 3, and we're only in the second period. But the Red Wings have a 4-1 lead. The Flyers, though, have got to find some answers, and they've not been able to do that yet in this series. This is the biggest lead either team has had in this series to date. Shot on by Kozlov, deflected Therien. Therien, he'll come back through the middle here, trying to find some room. Dumped into the zone by the youngster in his second game, Forbes. Colin Forbes got it down low, then puts the hit on, freed it up, shot, Vernon right there to make a save on Renberg. Sent back in by Therien, deflected again, and again cleared out by Fetisov. This time an icing call coming up. Chased down at the far end on the touch by Michel Petit. The last time the Detroit Red Wings won a cup was 1955, and a lot has changed in sports since then. This was the team that got that cup for Detroit with the Lindsay and the Howe. The Cleveland Browns were playing at the time with Jim Brown. There isn't a Cleveland Browns. The Brooklyn Dodgers were playing with Jackie Robinson. There isn't a Brooklyn Dodgers. The Syracuse Nationals were beating the Fort Wayne Pistons. Both of them are gone. Mike Ilitch was around to watch some of that. He's liking this a whole lot more than any of the other sports, though.
No, and he's probably doing what most owners would do in this situation, and that is try to stay calm, realizing he's not there yet. He's got a nice lead in this hockey game, and as you mentioned, Gary, this is only Game 3, but he couldn't have written a better script for the Detroit Red Wings the way this series is going. And you know what? The Flyers have not been able to solve the Red Wings defensively. Right? The Red Wings have been so good defensively, the Flyers haven't been able to solve them and get their offense going. But as complicated matters is the Flyers have not played well defensively.
Shanahan just missed that one. As he ripped it, had an odd man rush for a moment, dropped back all the way to center. Yanni Neiman, that's way offside on the Flyers. Ward will go over to get it. They'll delay the whistle here, providing they get it out here, and they do as Rouse cleared it back out to center, jammed away by Lapointe. Now we've seen a couple of Detroit checks here well after the puck had left the area. Not called by Kerry Fraser. Maybe not as tight here being called in this period. Lindros centered, blind pass, Lapointe was there and cleared it out.
And very often when you get a 4-1 lead, you back off on the hitting game. But you know the coaching staff for Detroit is standing over there saying, discourage them, make it hard for them every shift.
Sent around by Maltby. What a job this line has done with Maltby out there with Koser and Murphy and Lidstrom in particular, the two defensemen against the Legion of Doom. Vernon had it, lost it. Zubras trying to get it in, can't. Vernon came up with 2 saves. 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 2 saves.
Mike Vernon has not had to make many huge saves in this series. I counted 3 in game 2, but when he's been called upon, he has been there. John LeClaire saw an opportunity to step out, and he smartly did that. Then Dinah Zubris came in and poked it. Mike Vernon followed it the whole way. But a nice read by John LeClaire to know that there was space there. Darren Pang is down there at ice level. What do you see down there with Mike Vernon, Darren?
Bill, you know when a goaltender has confidence when he smothers those pucks down low and takes away all the little holes. At the opposite end of the ice, the puck's finding a way past Ron Hextall as he sprawls the same way Vernon is sprawling, but yet Billy Vernon's managing to come up with a little biscuit.
That's what he's done. Hasn't had to make necessarily as many hard saves, hardest scoring chances, but when he has, he's been there. Tip wide, Howard Chuck in the corner. Howard Chuck with balloon behind the net, couldn't get it back. Cleared out Murphy. Murphy's got Kosa on the right with him. 2 on 3 though. Murphy waits. Murphy will gun it in. Tip save made by Hextall on a tip in front of the net by Joey Kosa, who suddenly in this series has found the offensive tools. And center deflects back to Murphy.
Sure has, and Larry Murphy was able to lead that rush. Scotty Bowman has not shortened his bench of defense. Aaron Ward is still taking a regular shift. That did not happen in game 2. The whole bench is being used by Detroit with his 4-1 lead, and everybody is fresh, including 36-year-old legs.
Howard Chuck had nobody with him. They were changing it up. Flipped out of the zone by Maltby off the near side boards. Terrian lost it. Konstantinov lost it. Forbes brings it back in. Looking. Brind'amour to Renberg. Deflected, though, before it got to Renberg. Came back to the middle. Not out of the zone. Now Philadelphia able to hold in here on a couple of chances. Desjardins got it back. Big hit put on by Terrian. Nobody right up front of the net. Desjardins joins the flow. Lost the puck. Chance for a 2-on-1, but for the little hook. Here comes McCarty. McCarty waiting for help. Centering pass. Good back checking Desjardins. Third it back out to Forbes. Forbes, the nice move on Eisenman. His shot deflected into the corner. He gave chase himself. Got a piece of the Fetisov in doing so. And Fetisov paid him back by dumping him over there in the corner.
I don't think Kerry Fraser saw it. It looked like a takedown, but Kerry Fraser, I think, might have been screened by Mike Vernon.
A lot of pokes over there on that occasion. Detroit will change this up. 14-13 shots in favor of Detroit. The Red Wings have the 4-1 lead. Up and out of the zone. Martin Lapointe got it back into the middle. Larionov dropped it. Shanahan between the legs. Shanahan in the middle. Open shot. And he missed it. Backhander just went wide. Brendan Shanahan had to step again, though, as he got ahead of the D. Brind'amour moves it in. Larionov back checking. Yanni Neiman will take it. Shot deflected. Vernon saw it all the way in. Back into the middle. Quick out by Shanahan. Flyers changing it up. Lindros. Samuelsson cuts back to get it. Samuelsson over to Yanni Neiman. Lapointe moved up on him. Center ice again. Got it in, but not for long. Fetisov fed it right back out. Fedorov. Fedorov fakes. Fedorov dropped it off in the middle. Puck on to Fedorov. Fedorov shot. Save made again. Hextall. The rebound went wide. They were celebrating. They thought it had gone in. It didn't. Detroit thought they had goal number 5 on that. 3 guys, including Lapointe, had their sticks up in the air.
And it was close, but it was not in. It was on the outside of the net. But the Flyers' defense have not kept the gap closed, and that's why the Red Wings have a full head of steam coming over the blue line. They end up with scoring chances like this.
These are the Detroit Red Wings who need to win only 2 more games. In fact, even less than that. They can win a game and a period and a half plus. They've got a chance to have their names inscribed on that cup. They're up 4-1. The big octopus hanging from the ceiling. You don't see the octopi being thrown out on the ice anymore. The penalty, of course, now for delay a game on the home team if that happens. That has not happened here yet. Fedorov. And it'll be poke checked away to center. Detroit comes back to get it. Cleared back in by Rouse, but way offside as they had not cleared the zone.
Well, we talked about that big gap that the Flyers are allowing Detroit to get their speed up in. We're going to take a look at it here. This is going to be a pass to Fedorov. Shell Samuelsson here was moving up in the play, but he's not even up to the red line. The other defenseman is back here. That allows Sergei Fedorov for a full head of steam. You have no choice but to back in if he comes at you and you're flat-footed. The drop pass to Kozlov, back to Fedorov. Confusion with Niinema and Shell Samuelsson, and another scoring chance. It's been very difficult for the Flyers to get up on the play quickly enough to follow their forwards to keep that gap small and take away the speed room for Detroit.
Speed, speed, speed has made a huge difference in this series so far. And Detroit with a 4-1 lead here, and the scoring chance is 14-8 in favor of the Red Wings in this game. Desjardins will come back out to center to get it. Here comes Eric Lindros, who's not really been a factor here in this game number 3. McCarty trying to clear it out by Terrien, but Slava Fetisov is down on the ice.
Yeah, and he took it up high from Eric Lindros. He pinched up in the play. Remember, we just showed you the Flyers gap, how they backed in. Detroit will not take that position. They jump right up, and we've talked about Detroit trying to take away the Legion of Doom speed before they get going, and that's what Fetisov was trying to do. But when Lindros went by him, it looked like he tried to move his stick high over Fetisov and hooked him up high. Here's Lindros. Watch from the left of the screen. Fetisov moved up on him, and Lindros looked like he got him with a glove in the face. I don't think he hit him with his stick, so Fetisov looks like he's all right. Oh, yeah. I mean, his head sort of whiplashed. Lindros reacts so quickly in those situations. When you go to take him, you better be careful. Now he's just shaking his head. He's got cobwebs in there now because he took that left of the jaw. It looked like it snapped his head back off the jaw.
Lindros with the 5 hits given and the 1 taken. But his offense not yet showing up on the board for Philadelphia.
As long as Fetisov doesn't think he's playing Dynamo or Spartak or one of those teams, he'll probably be back on the ice.
19 years worth of pro hockey. Regroup, get the helmet on, be back. 11:10 left to go, second period. Red Wings leading it by a score of 4-1 in this game. They had the 3-1 lead coming into this period. They have added a power play goal to extend that lead to 3 goals now, 4-1. Chip back behind the net. Lindros on the intercept, puts control of those. Again, whipped around near side. Dykhouse stepping up to hold it in. McCarty does battleize him and got the puck. They move it up in a 3-on-3 this time. Lidstrom dropped it off. Shot, that one missed wide. Tomas Sandstrom gunning it. Still not out of the zone. McCarty came up with the hit on. Cleared up by Zubers. There's Larry Murphy on the intercept. Murphy gets it up, got it up to McCarty. Leclerc intercepts, back in onside. Poke checked away by Nicholas Lidstrom. Up on top for Michel Petit, behind the net to Lindros. Lindros looking. Leclerc set up in front. His pass nowhere near Yanni Niemann. And he's got to get it back on side, so he'll rag it back.
And Detroit continues to play the Lindros crew real smart. They're not playing the body, they're playing the puck, and they're winning the battles to the puck.
Lindros shot that one off the side of the net. Can't be held in. 3-on-2 opportunity. 3-on-2. Draper coming. Koser in the middle. Just behind Joey Koser. And a penalty coming. A delayed call. Koser gunning it. Still no whistle. Sent back behind the net. Draper. Draper hit. Extra skater out there for Detroit. Now the whistle. Pinned up by Yanni Niemann, and a power play coming for the Red Wings. Want to remind you, ESPN's Outside the Lines will be coming your way on Monday at 7:30. Bob Lee will be hosting it. A look at the phenom known as Tiger Woods and what he has done for the world of golf, both on and off the course. Outside the Lines, Monday at 7:30.
Michel Petit ended up in a foot race because he kind of pinched up a little. We talked about the gap. Well, if Detroit gets wide on you with a free man, you can't close the gap up because you're going to get beat wide. That's exactly what happened. Chris Draper got a jump on him wide because he had moved up on the play. He tried to get the butt end into Draper. That didn't work. He just grabbed him and took him down. And Yanni Niemann actually made a good play to deflect that pass. Otherwise, it was going right to Joe Koser for an empty netter.
It'll be a holding call on Petit at 10:14. 1 for 4 on the power play for Philadelphia. 2 for 2 for Detroit. They've been in that attack zone not very long because they haven't needed to be. Kozlov looking out in front where Shanahan is set up in front of the net. Marianov back. Fedorov the shot. That was Shanahan trying to knock that one in. Banged out of the zone. Mike Vernon will come out. Vernon holds it up. Fedorov back to get it. 9:26 to go, second period. A 4-1 lead already for the Red Wings. His power plays come alive. Kozlov in. Shuts it down. Shot! Oh, mercy did he have that set up. He used the defenseman for a screen, but he didn't get it on net. Fedorov back to him. Kozlov. Philadelphia stays back. Fedorov. Kozlov up along the blue line. Shanahan on the offside wing now, waiting at the post, holding his stick up. Now he goes to the front. Kozlov to Shanahan, tipped wide. Shanahan gets the rebound. Sends it back up. Power play here for Detroit. Philadelphia back in the box. Shanahan trying to center. Carry and block. Shanahan able to control it, though. Larionov, Kozlov. Kozlov again. From Sergei Fedorov. Looking into the middle. Shanahan's the only one down low. Larionov. Larionov waiting. Shanahan doing battle right in front of Hextall. Larionov not wanting to shoot. Fedorov tried. Lost control. Power play down to 40 seconds. Igor Larionov had it tipped away. Up along the boards. Battling for it. Kozlov couldn't get it. And cleared out. Good work by Joel Otto.
And good work by Eric Desjardins in front of the net. He was battling with Brendan Shanahan. And even if the Red Wings had got the puck there, Shanahan was on his face most of the time because Desjardins just kept hammering him down.
There's Fetisov right back out here. Center Kozlov one-timer, but he couldn't get it. It was rolling on him. And cleared up and out by Clyde. Short-handed brind'amour. Short-handed 11 on the power play left for Detroit. Nowhere to go. Dropped it off. Kozlov there to get it. Kozlov forced the other way by Flat. Kozlov gets around one man. Needs some help. He's got pinned up from Yzerman. And the power play's over. So Philadelphia killed it off even though Detroit controlled. Yzerman down the middle. Save made by Hextall. Steve Yzerman with the opportunity. Kjell Samuelsson bounced away to center to Dykhouse. Dykhouse moves it in. Both teams will change it up. 16-15, the shots in favor of Detroit. 4-1 lead for the Wings. Konstantinov trying to go wide. Didn't. Picked up by LeClaire. LeClaire fakes. Dropped it off. No shot. Konstantinov blocked it. Side of the net. Lindros. Picked up by Martin Lapointe. A turnover. Couldn't do anything with it. Draper into the zone, and he's offside.
Well, when it has not been Larry Murphy and Nicholas Lidstrom against the Eric Lindros line that features John LeClaire on the left side, it's been Vladimir Konstantinov. And boy, is he ever willing to take on the job. Not only a physical player, but what is underrated about him is his agility and his ability to back up and make the play. John LeClaire went wide, never got the shot off because of a great play by Konstantinov.
City and the Chrysler Corporation plant, Warren Truck Division. This is where they put them together. Robotics in use, of course. Kind of remind you of what the hockey team in Detroit does. They play like robotics, and when you get done, you got a nice, sleek, finished product.
Boy, and for doing that promo there for Chrysler, everybody in the crew gets a brand new 97 pickup truck. They're real nice to us. Real nice.
I picked up mine today. Brought back up by Yzerman. Yzerman coming. McCarty in the middle. Yzerman dropped it behind the play. Shot. Murphy deflected out in front. Eric Lindros was down on the ice, and that shot hit him. And another odd-man rush. Puck hit with a high stick by Murphy, and that will draw the whistle. 6:45 left to go here in the second.
Boy, Eric Lindros came back hard, ended up on his side in front of Ron Hextall and was responsible for blocking, but great play by the Red Wings to get their third man up. And you can see him here having to dig in, dig. I got to get back because we're in trouble. He did get back, and he got the stick on Darren McCarty. You see what he did there? He actually got his stick tangled in his jersey and pushed Darren McCarty forward, which is just as good as pulling him back. I mean, you won't get called in a penalty, but you'll throw Darren McCarty off on the play. And then he ended up blocking the shot.
You can see the frustration in the eyes of that superstar trying to figure out what is going on in this Stanley Cup final with the Red Wings lucky to take a 3-0 lead in it, and on top here by a score of 4-1. Detroit themselves trying to get out of a little funk they've had at home. They have not won in the last 8 finals games played here in Detroit. They lost 7. They've lost 7 in a row coming into this one. The last time they won was 1964 in a finals game played at home. One of my heroes, Alex Del Vecchio, had that game-winning goal in the last one. Detroit had that won one here. They may have another name to be added to that list before this night is over. 6:30 to go in the second period. Malone shot that one in wide of the net. Rebound John Cruz. Cruz looking to the middle, but fell down. Picked up by Koser. Cruz tipped it away. Far side done. Played there by Maltby. Maltby turning it back. Maltby on the little roll. Gives it the high flip out the center, and Dykhouse will have to chase down. Joey Koser coming in. Koser forced it back in behind the net. Tipped down again, but not controlled by the Flyers. They'll rag it back here as Detroit gets a line change completed. Fedorov saw that happening and took it back. Fedorov, Kozlov, and Doug Brown out there. Over to Brown unintentionally. Chipped away once, twice, and out of the zone by Dykhouse. Forbes comes the other way. Forbes trying to move it in for Renberg. Shot went wide, though, before Renberg caught up. Brown clears it out. 4 unanswered goals by Detroit. Yzerman, Fedorov in the point in the first period. Fedorov, another one here in this period. And the only goal, John LeClair for the Flyers, was the first goal of this game. A lead that lasted for 2 minutes. In front, Brown up. Fedorov out, tipped by Terry. Carrying over to get it. Poke checked away from him by brind'amour, and they'll play it back to Desjardins. Philadelphia getting set on the line change here as well. Sent in. Could be icing coming in. O'Vernon went back to play it. Didn't realize it was going to be icing. Vernon got knocked down behind the net. Caught up with a couple of his own players and one other Flyer. Larionov, he's all right back up. Kozlov trying to get control of this thing. Tipped it along the boards. The point had it. Lost again up the center. brind'amour. Here's a 3-on-2 opportunity. Philadelphia sent back into the middle, and they're offside. A 3-on-2 chance, but Klatt got in ahead of the puck.
Welcome back to Detroit. The Red Wings ahead of the Flyers 4-1 in the second period. In this spotlight this time, we're going to look at shot selection. NHL players have to have an arsenal of them. Here's Desjardins with the puck under control, a slap shot from the point. Eric Lindros is one of the most difficult, the one-timer off the pass. Great concentration there. Watch Yanni Niinema's hands here as he snaps this one off from the blue line. And then finally, you're going to see Sergei Fedorov coming in on that. Watch his hands. In close, tight to the goalie. That quickness, that's what scores goals. Different shots for different situations.
And Detroit's shots have ended up in that twine more often. 4-1 lead. Shots haven't varied very much throughout this game. Vernon has come up big when necessary. Shot in wide by Lindros. Lidstrom got a partial piece of that. Lindros chased in behind the net. Detroit again able to break it out. Larionov. Igor Larionov sends it back in. Hextall going back to get it. Held it back up for Terrien. Chris Terrien turning another, almost another turnover as the point took that pass. Came to LeClair though. LeClair centered Lindros. Lindros was being watched all the way down ice that time and never got open. Nicholas Lidstrom stayed right with him. On the boards, rolled out the center, tipped back in offside, but we brought out. Be no whistle. Up to Shanahan. Did he get a stick on a gas? No icing here either. Hextall back. Hextall played it off the side. 4:14 left here in the period. LeClair tied up. There's just no room even when you make a rink-wide pass with Philadelphia. They move the puck through center ice.
No, and they can't get their speed up still.
Intercepted again. Tomas Sandstrom brought it in. Sandstrom with Yzerman in front of him. Now is open. Sandstrom shot. Save Hextall. And covers up the rebound. RV's a storyline here in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Red Wings, you see, looking to get another in the W column. Fedorov, 2 goals, 8 in the series. Yzerman, goal number 7.
And our Visa replays will feature Steve Yzerman, a consistent offensive player in every game. Game 1, long shot from the blue line. Game 2, power play. Follow your shot to the net and good things happen. Game 3 in front of his hometown crowd at the Joe. Get it in the slot and blast it. Different types of goals, different types of shots. Brian Engblom talked about it's not only different guys with different shots, but a player will use his complete arsenal in a game. And we saw different shots from Steve Yzerman in each one of those goals.
You have to know how tough it's going to be for Steve Yzerman just to stay within himself here, having waited all this time, all these years to be in the Stanley Cup winner. And now to be sensing each passing minute and getting closer, closer for this captain who has been so loved here and is actually, he knows he's on the other side of his great career. Not a lot of time left to get this done, to get your name on the cup.
But as the game has changed, so has Steve Yzerman. It has become a defense-first game. And Steve Yzerman started in the National Hockey League in 1984 when it was a wide-open kind of competition. And Steve Yzerman had to adjust as the game adjusted, and now, well, he is at least one of the top 3 Red Wings all-around forwards, offensively and defensively. I mean, Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, Igor Larionov, we're down the middle. I'll tell you what, they got guys know how to play both ways.
And this one partially blocked to Tomas Sandstrom. Sandstrom will move that up, send it in. Yzerman playing in playoff game number 112 right here in his career. Back in behind the net. It's moved in on goal and swatted away by Hextall. Sandstrom again on the forecheck. He poke-checked the puck and ended up getting a shot on net. He just stayed with it. Sandstrom's gotten close to getting a goal, and it's been a while for him, like 20 games and none here in the playoffs this year.
That was Michel Petit that was tracking the puck behind the net and had it really pickpocketed from him behind the net. And Terry Murray continues to put him out there. I mean, there's no easy ways for Terry Murray. It looks like he's continuing to roll his 4 lines. Naturally, you'd expect Detroit to continue with their full bench. Kind of surprised that the Flyers are doing it too.
Doug Brown got hauled down that time by Michel Petit.
But when you don't play for long stretches, your timing, your reads, sometimes off a little bit. And he had to beat McCarty. Darren McCarty made a good play just by taking the boards option away from Petit and forcing him to the front of the net.
Terry Murray has tried the goaltending changes, some line changes, defensive alignments, attempted matchups in game 1. None of it has worked.
No, but one thing that he's doing is trying to get Yanni Niinimaa on the ice quite a bit. He said he might play 30 minutes. Well, he's played 15:46, but we're down to 2:48 to go, so he won't get close to the 30-minute mark.
Off this face-off, puck finally in the pile, gets the whistle as Maltby came in trying to dig that out. That's Chris Draper down there. Draper's played a great defensive playoff year. Samuelson was down there on the ice with him. Our coverage of the Stanley Cup Finals is going to be continuing right here on ESPN Saturday. We'll have our Quest for the Cup show at 7:30 with all those cuties right here on hand in the building. And then these Detroit Red Wings, led by Steve Yzerman, will be taking on the Flyers. It'll be game 4 coming your way starting at 7:30 with our Quest for the Cup. We went out to have a couple of adult beverages the other night with Darren Pang, of all people. And a man at the bar said, he looked at Darren Pang and said, I know you're the goalkeeper who couldn't stop a beer sliding down the bar. Shot back in, covered up by Hextall. Darren Pang reached out, sure enough, the bottle went right by. Covered up by Hextall, and he hangs on. We wanted to let Darren have a chance to answer that, but oh, darn, they're going to give him a chance. Darren.
I really thought, Gary, that was a bowl of soup that came my way. And no truth to the rumor that it did slide right between my legs. No truth to the rumor I'm going to play game 4 either for the Philadelphia Flyers. But, boy, fellas, this place here, they're really reaping the rewards of what they felt. I sat in the stands for game 1 against New Jersey when they were so disappointed. Now, look how excited they are, and they're having a whole lot of fun. And so is their goaltender, obviously, in Mike Vernon.
Darren, you don't know it, but you're getting dissed by everybody in the building. You'll have to take a look at the replay of the game later on. Just take a look at that little stand-up you just did, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Truth is, Darren couldn't reach the top of the bar to make the save with the beer bottle.
Better off. Got it out in front. Brown the shot. Rebound shot wide by Kozlov. Doug Brown dug it out. Brown looking. This line creating chances now. From the point. Shot by Aaron Ward. Deflected wide to the near side corner. Chip back in for Brown. Brown looking for Fedorov in front. Sent with the Kozlov. He shot it wide. Shooting gallery time right now on this shift. Brown behind the net. Hit by Desjardins. Klatt moves over. Philadelphia needs a clear. Brown stole it. Ran it out towards the middle. Otto was there. And Philadelphia will get it out of the zone. They've got a dump and change, though, with 1:39 left to go in the second period.
Gary, even after that flurry in the Flyers zone, the Red Wings had their left wing lock in place and their 4th man back, too.
Balloon went by the puck, couldn't get it. Martin Lapointe took it to the corner. John Druce on his back. Larionov will start it up ice. Larionov looking, sends it in. Wide side corner. Yanni Niinimaa does go back to get it. Niinimaa picked up 4 assists last 3 games. Big hit, Konstantinov! Whoa! Vladimir Konstantinov. Martin Lapointe shot was blocked. That brings the Joe to its feet. What a shot Konstantinov put on Howard-Chuck, who now takes Konstantinov down. Shanahan the other way. 3-on-2. Shanahan drops, hits to the net. Shanahan tip. Sextall save. Rebound center for Ariano. He scored! Brendan Shanahan off Ron Hextall.
Well, the Joe is rocking as the wheels fall off for the Philadelphia Flyers. Vladimir Konstantinov's hit put a real punctuation mark, exclamation mark on this game. And as a result of the Flyers, I think, trying to go back at him, they ended up giving up a 3-on-2. Now the Flyers recovered because Brendan Shanahan's deflection went behind, but watch what Shanahan does. Was he trying to bank it off Ron Hextall? Possibly. Maybe there was a pass that was intended, but he looked like he was looking right down at Ron Hextall's pads, seeing if he could work a bank shot. And he did. By a couple of inches, Brendan Shanahan has given the Red Wings a 5-1 lead.
An incredible series. Nobody believed Detroit would be doing this at this point. They have scored the last 5 goals in this game after Philadelphia got Leclerc's goal in the first period. A lead that lasted for 2 minutes. The Joe just rocking. McCarty trying to send it in. Desjardins deflected. Dump back into the zone. Long shot. This could be an icing call here, and it is. Eric Lindros gummed it in, I think, thinking the clock is down further. Listen to the Joe.
His 9th goal of the playoffs, number 14, Brendan Shanahan.
And Ron Hextall has to continue to stand in there and face the barrage that has come his way. Terry Murray said he's going to go the rest of the way with Ron Hextall. I didn't take that to necessarily mean that Ron Hextall would be left in no matter what the circumstances were. I took it to mean that Terry Murray was going to at least start Ron Hextall in every game. But if he's going to have any hope of winning Game 4, might have to think about between periods coming out with Garth Snow. No other reason to keep Ron Hextall's head straight for Game 4.
And to send a message to the team again that they're not going to be allowed to do this to a goaltender. Second period's over.
Boy, the Red Wings continue to get balance. They have gotten scoring from their ace players. Fedorov tonight, Yzerman tonight, Shanahan tonight. Their role players have bailed them out when they've needed it. They've gotten them on the board when they've needed it. And the Detroit Red Wings have yet to do anything other than just pump away, as any Detroit team should do in this Motor City, on all cylinders.
They've got a 5-1 lead. Shanahan's goal coming in 1917, his 3rd of this series and his 9th of the playoffs. Darren McCarty got the assists on it. Fedorov and Shanahan scored in this period. Yzerman, Fedorov, Lapointe scored in the first after Leclerc got the only goal for Philadelphia. And that cup getting closer and closer to Detroit. Konstantinov, the huge hit at center on Dale Hawerchuk. Converted. Shanahan off Hextall for goal number 5. 2 periods are done. Retaliating at the start of this 3rd period, and Kerry Fraser's got him on a cross-check.
You know, the players really shaped up after Kerry Fraser called it tight in the first period. We stopped seeing guys obstructing and guys hooking. And Eric Lindros came. It didn't look like it was that hard, but Kerry Fraser deemed it a cross-check because he had his hands spread and the stick against Konstantinov's back. Now the Detroit Red Wings get another chance on the power play. You know what? Through 2 games, the Flyers had more scoring chances than the Red Wings in this series. It was the big breakdowns that hit them. Well, tonight Detroit has just ripped it away, and they're going to get a chance to go on the power play because of this hit coming. Wasn't much of a cross-check. Kerry Fraser was standing right nearby, and he called it. But tonight in this game so far, scoring chances through 2 periods. 22 for Detroit, 9 for the Philadelphia Flyers. So even the chances have dried up.
They have now scored, Bill. We were talking about this in the intermission. 8 periods of hockey have been played. They've scored 5 goals, 1 even strength goal scored by the Flyers.
And that wouldn't be so bad if they hadn't had big breakdowns in the middle of all of that. Both ends of the ice have cost the Flyers. Got a problem, obviously, here with the ice. The boys are going to fix it.
Detroit has picked up 2 power play goals already. When we start again, they'll have a power play. The Gladiator. Vladimir Konstantinov.
And that is the face of one of the true gladiators in this sport of hockey. Konstantinov took Klatt to the board. And I guess this is when the glass broke, is when Klatt went up high. I mean, if you can get up on the glass, you take away a lot of the hit. If you stay down low, the boards don't give nearly as much. So naturally, when a guy's got you in his wrap like that, the way Konstantinov had flat, the last thing you do is try to get a little airborne to get against the glass.
They're having a difficult time getting that pane of glass, plexiglass out of there. 10 hits with Vladimir Konstantinov and created that last penalty. So while they fix that, we will remind you that our coverage of Belmont weekend on the Deuce, ESPN, and ABC will be coming up on the Deuce tomorrow night. 2 shows featuring Triple Crown challenger Silver Charm. Saturday at 3:30, ESPN will bring you the Belmont Stakes special, a preview of the race with a special look at Silver Charm. And then on Saturday on ABC at 4:30, the running of the 129th Belmont Stakes. The Silver Charm tries to become the 12th Triple Crown winner in racing history.
You know, the way things have gone for the Red Wings in this series, the only thing that can hurt them is themselves. They don't self-destruct. If they don't start playing loose, they're going to be just fine. And guess what? It's been all perfect in this series so far. Hits, timely saves by Mike Vernon when they needed them. Timely bank shots. There was nobody in front. That replay is clear. Brendan Shanahan tried the bank shot off of Ron Hextall, and it worked because he had nobody to pass to.
Wayne Gretzky will have to smile watching that shot tonight. Gretzky, one who does that regularly, and other players in the league now picking up on that when they get behind the net to go after a goal. So the glass is fixed. Vernon holding it up. We told you Detroit here at home 7-1 in the playoffs this year with a 1-2-5 goals against. All of those for Mike Vernon, who's made all the starts. Back in on the charge. It is a 6-1 Detroit lead.
Well, was Marty LaPointe due, or was he due from that right side shooting spot? How many times has he come down in the playoffs and banked it off the post? Not that time, baby. Nothing but net. And Marty LaPointe can really launch it. Now with Brendan Shanahan and LaPointe both coming with some speed, the Flyers backed in. They're killing a penalty. Chris Therien was used as a screen. And Marty LaPointe just ripped that one into the net. It may have touched Chris Therien, I'm not sure, but he had enough on it to score even without the deflection.
Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Margie's Bar, the reaction. Fives and drinks around. A 6-1 lead. That is his 4th goal of the playoffs. He's got 2 in this game tonight. Martin LaPointe and a 6-1 lead. You felt at the end of that second period the focus was being lost by the Flyers, and you really feel that now here in this 3rd period.
Yeah, the only thing the Flyers can hope for, and I've always believed this, it is possible to win too big in the playoffs. It happened to Detroit against Colorado. They waxed them 6-0 here. They went to Colorado and lost 6-0 there. So I've always felt it is not good to win too big. As soon as you assume your opponent is mortally wounded, maybe you let up a little bit. So looking ahead to game 4, that has to be a Flyers hope.
Vernon stayed there in the attempted tip-in by Yanni Nienema. Back the other way. Wings will have to regroup at center. We're an offside. Fedorov back. Fedorov feathered that one in near side. It's getting a little chippy now with a 6-1 lead here and only 2 minutes into the 3rd period. Tomas Sandstrom get into it on the far side a minute ago. Mike Vernon got an assist. This is a standing ovation for Vernon.
You know, there's actually a fan that I saw earlier in the game for our Red Wings. That's a nice sign, but there was a sign that said Mike Vernon. There it is right there. I apologize.
A lot of the people in Detroit could say that.
They're hockey fans. And I'll tell you what, Mike Vernon came under so much criticism in '95 when the Red Wings got swept by the Devils, and he was not the #1 goalie in the regular season. A lot of people in the stands were down on him. Well, at least they got the guts to stand up and say, I apologize now.
That one ends up going over the glass. The goal at 1:08 came by LaPointe, his 2nd of this game. Fedorov and Vernon got the assists, a power play goal.
Might not have been the prettiest assist that he'd ever had. He didn't actually headman it to anybody for a for a breakaway. He actually dumped it up to the boards, and Joel Otto stopped it and popped it back to him. But Mike Vernon has handled the puck within his limitations. He is not a great puck handler. But there is the assist. It was just a little save and then a poke to his defenseman in the corner. When he has handled the puck, he has handled it so well. Colorado really picked up on that and respected what Mike Vernon did with the puck. Never tries to do more than he's capable of.
What he's been capable of here in this series and in this playoff year is win games. Mike Vernon, 5th all-time in wins in the playoffs, makes another save on Leclerc's chance. Lindros on the far side, got it behind the net for Zubas. Couldn't do anything with it. Cleared through Samuelson and out to center. Dykhouse will come back to get it. Scotty Bowman rolling these lines over in a hurry for Detroit. Here in the third, he doesn't want anybody overused with a 6-1 lead. In the third period with 16:57 left to go. Lidstrom drops it off far side. Rouse. Brind'amour was over. Tipped away by Brown. Dykhouse will come back to get it. Cleared up, and that'll end up on the Flyers bench, stopping the clock. A 6-1 score. This was the game Philadelphia honestly felt they could come back in and play well on the road. Because they played well there all year and in the playoffs, it has been worse than ever.
Yep. The only thing the Flyers have won in this series regularly is faceoffs. The one thing Detroit wanted to do in this game, because they felt that any faceoff in their end was a scoring chance for the Flyers, because Lindros and Brind'amour and Otto are so strong, they wanted to avoid icings. I don't know if they've committed an icing in this game. They talked to their players about supporting one another better, talking, saying, you've got time, banking it off the boards, not going for the icing. And the Flyers, I don't recall one faceoff in the Detroit zone as a result of an icing. And even if they had, Detroit is having their best game of the series on the faceoffs. After 2 periods, they were just about dead even. The Flyers at 126, Detroit at 125.
Near side for Aaron Ward. Ward will ship that one in, as Detroit will do here in this period, and just try and force turnovers, as Brown almost had there as he reached out to get it. Bruce on the other side sends it into Balloon's corner. Balloon taken out of the play by Ward. Kozlov got the puck. He got checked. Fedorov was there to help. And Detroit clears it out. Tipped away by Brown. Philadelphia will come back in their own end. Delpat's pass was intercepted again at center. Rouse dropped it into the zone to Draper. Draper coming in. Draper trying to turn. Does. Draper back up on top. Maltby waiting in. Shot blocked. Hextall out and covers. Hextall came out to meet him that time on the attempt by Kirk Maltby.
What a play by Chris Draper, though. You talk about a player that deserves something good to happen to him. He has really come into his own, and you remember last year when he got his face rearranged in the playoffs against Colorado. Well, Chris Draper made that happen coming through the neutral zone. Michel Petit pinched up to try to take him. He beat him. Chris Therrien went to him after that. He beat Therrien wide. And then he dumped out front for the scoring chance by Kirk Maltby. What a play.
And he's been sent out there to do a defensive job. And what a job they've done. He's been out there a lot against that Lindros line with Murphy. Nicholas Lidstrom playing back on defense. Face-off won by Joel Otto. Taken back in behind the cleared over Maltby's head and out to center. Fetisov will give chase. Slava Fetisov taking it back behind Mike Vernon. Detroit in no hurry to do anything that will cost them control of the puck. Back to Konstantinov. Otto, the only man up here. Now Klatt will join him. Dragged back behind the net. Fetisov back there. Hockey's version of the 4 corners of North Carolina. Cleared ahead to center. And they'll just dump it into the zone. And change up. Koster set it back in behind the net. Chris Therrien starts it up. Philadelphia changing. Desjardins in. Vernon, the hard check. Shot wide on the rebound far side by Otto. Played back up. Desjardins into the middle. Cleared up. Desjardins got to wait now for the Flyers to get back on side. He didn't. Lindros had not cleared the zone. Face off at center. Take a look at our Monday Stanley Cup summary here in our coverage of Game 3 of the finals. Last Red Wings home win in the finals came back in '64. They haven't won in all those 7. Leclerc, 10-game point scoring streak still underway, and Fedorov, 20 points in the playoffs. Only wing in the top 8 playoff scoring list.
Oh, there's Joey Koser on the bench. What an incredible story for Joey Koser. Out of hockey in the NHL until December. He has told me this morning he is playing more now per game regularly than at any other time in his career. I said, you got to be smart and know how to play good defensive hockey to play for Scotty Bowman, don't you? And he said, yes. And I owe it all to Colin Campbell and Roger Nielsen. When I was in New York playing for the Rangers, I learned so much from them about how to play reliable defensive hockey.
They've gotten that done, and he's contributed offensively as well. Face wash there by Samuelson, pushed away by Tomas Sandstrom. Whistle here as the puck was down underneath the folks. Brian Englund.
Gary, we have a chance to watch two of the best power forwards in the National Hockey League in this series and in this game tonight, and Brendan Shanahan and John LeClair. And these guys have so many different skills, but when you look at the position they play, you see the beating they take. You see when they left to score goals. Look at John LeClair. When you stand in front, and then Brendan Shanahan, this is the kind of stuff that they go up against. Well, what makes it worthwhile? John LeClair getting one chance at a puck and only needing one, and then Brendan Shanahan seizing a chance that's not even really a scoring chance and coming away with a goal. For Shanahan and John LeClair, that scoring touch and the raging bull together.
Back in action here. Samuelson along the near side, had it deflected away and deeper into the zone. Swung around. Sandstrom lost it. Samuelson got it. Lost it again. Tomas Sandstrom waiting down low. Does battle here. Oh, ripped off by LeClair. That helmet came off. Lindros on the near side sends it out. Good handle by LeClair. Murphy back there with him. There was Larry Murphy again, forcing the play. Yzerman clears it out. Shanahan a goal and an assist tonight for Detroit. LeClair's got a goal tonight, and the only one up there for the Flyers. The puck again ends up going up and onto the bench. 13:55 left to go here in the third period, and it's just a matter now of running the time off the clock because the Flyers aren't going anywhere in this game.
No, and rolling the lines for Scotty Bowman. For that matter, Terry Murray is doing the same thing with the Flyers. He's still going with his bench, everybody. Bob Clark, president of the Flyers, looks on, and that's a cool exterior. But there is a volcano that is going on inside of Bobby Clark right now.
He will forever wonder about the deal that wasn't made for a goaltender. He had the opportunity to make a change, to come up with another goaltender and a deal.
And it was really difficult. At the trading deadline, the Philadelphia Flyers talked to the Toronto Maple Leafs about Felix Potvin. But Cliff Fletcher wanted Yanni Niinema and Dinas Zubris in the deal. How do you make that? No, you cannot make that deal.
And the other thing is the goaltending issue here has been so overwhelming. But the fact of the matter is Detroit's beaten Philadelphia in every other part of the game.
Way more than that. I don't think Ron Hextall or John Stone can take the heat for this. And I said this a couple of times in game 2. When you only score 2 goals against the Red Wings, the way they're playing and the way they're playing like a machine offensively and defensively, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. Larionov trying to send it in. It was knocked down. Yanni Niinema back from Michel Petit. Paul Coffey out if you joined the slate, not even with a team here. A slight concussion from last game after he took a hit from McCarty. He could be back to play on Saturday. Game we'll have for you at 7:30 with our Quest of the Cup on Saturday. 13:06 left to go here in the third period. Larionov comes back to the blue. Larionov gains the red, dumped it off for Brown. You saw the hit come spun around by Bruce. Avoided most of the contact though. Dumped deep. Fetisov coming back to get it. Slava Fetisov clears it around. He got it up the near side boards. Intercepted by Falloon. His pass lost. Desjardins came back to get it. Desjardins will flip that one into the corner. Konstantinov back to get it. Konstantinov took a couple of checks there, but he got it around and Kozlov cleared it out. Desjardins leaving it back. Falloon again. Falloon leaves it. Flip back in wide. They were offside.
And the only thing the Red Wings have to fear now is just getting a little sloppy. And they don't look like they are. Even with the 6-1 lead, there's the man that scored it, Martin Lapointe, to give Detroit this lock on Game 3. They've got a 5-goal lead with 12:28 to go.
Left in this third period. Eric Lindros out to take the face-off as the Flyer players wanting to get this one over with right now and try and regroup for Saturday. Sent back in by Maltby, far side Lindros. Lindros, puck bounced on him there, jammed it up off to LeClair, back to Lindros, sent it for Zubris, but tipped away from him and out to center. Hextall will come back to get it. Hextall played it out to center. Deflected away there by Zubers. Battle with Draper involved in it. And Maltby. Maltby got it back. Nicholas Lidstrom leaves it. Detroit slowing the pace down, not turning it over. Maltby sent it in. Lindros put a shot on it. And a whistle, and he's going to go again. Eric Lindros, for the second time in this period, has been caught on a retaliatory move. That time it was an elbow. Gary Fraser was standing right there when he hit Maltby. And Lindros will go, and the Red Wings will go back on the power play.
Maltby was the guy that took one for the team. There he is. And what a story Kirk Maltby has become. Man. The Detroit Red Wings have had people step forward and elevate their games with nobody really expecting that they could do that. From Kirk Maltby to Joe Kocur. Hit him up high. Terry Murray doesn't like the call, but I'm not sure he got our angle of it because it looked like the forearm and the elbow came up right under Kirk Maltby's helmet.
And in a 6-1 game, Gary Fraser also wants to make sure this stays under control. He doesn't want to let one go that will force a Detroit player to have to retaliate, and then it starts getting out of hand. Good point. Power play, Darren McCarty shot. Save made by Hextall. Cleared up on him. Short-handed Philadelphia. Knocked away by McCarty. Penalty on Lindros for the elbowing. Came at 8-12. 5 power plays now in the game for Detroit. They have scored 3 power play goals in this game. And that'll be brought in, and a whistle here as Ray Scampanello, the linesman, got knocked down over there, and an offside call or another penalty.
Yep, Darren McCarty's going to go, so that'll even it up.
Yeah, now Gary Fraser's going to make sure here that anything that looks even remotely like a chip shot, and the person's going to go.
And why not?
Yeah, keep this under control.
We've seen too many games get out of hand once the score gets out of hand. Remember, we talked about the Flyers not being able to get the lead in the first 2 games. Well, they came out here and got the lead in the first period, and it didn't last long. But look at this. Holding lead against the Penguins, 43.9%. It went up against the Sabres, went up against the Rangers, 1.2% of the total time played in this series. 137 minutes and 12 seconds for Detroit, and an entire 2 minutes for Philadelphia. That's it.
Those 2 minutes came at the start of this game when LeClaire got that goal. Now we skate 4-on-4 for the first time. The interference from McCarty at 8:39, evening it up. Drop pass, shot LeClaire, save made by Vernon. Rebound skipped underneath Bankhouse's stick as he was jogging. Doug Brown the other way. 4-on-4, remember. Brown moves it in, then drags it back. Brown ragging, dropped it off for Fedorov. Sergei Fedorov, Yanni Niemann are moving in. Fedorov just played it around the boards. On the near side, Fetisov steps up, held it in. Brown trying to get his stick free on the near side. Fetisov bounced over his stick. Here comes Vernon, the offensive goalie, who's got an assist tonight up for Brown. Brown tipped it back along the line. There'll be a short power play coming up here for the Flyers in 42 seconds. Philadelphia controlling onside. Back into the middle. Shot deflected to brind'amour. Brind'amour leaves it on top. Terrien, that one wide. Rebound comes back near side. Desjardins looking out in front. Desjardins trying to get set up, cutting in from the point on that one, but they couldn't get the puck back to him as Forbes got tied up and Detroit cleared.
Now, Terry Murray really had no option once this game, in his mind, ended up out of reach, but to go with his 4 lines. I mean, other than, you know, he could play his best players and tire them out for game 4, but there was no incentive to shorten his bench once in his mind the game was gone.
Yep. Desjardins, power play in 4 seconds for the Flyers, a short one. Desjardins dumped it in the middle. They lose control. Larry Murphy, power play underway. Detroit is short-handed. Igor Larionov sends it in. Terrien was on him. Larionov got the puck, though. Larionov all the way around. Larionov waiting, held, foul, multi-shot, save Hextall. On Hextall, knocking down a short-handed chance right there. 10 on the power play for Philadelphia. And a whistle, and they're offside. Both Lindros and brind'amour were offside on the near wing. Our coverage of the College World Series on ESPN will continue tomorrow at 3:30. This is an elimination game pitting Alabama and Miami of Florida. A rematch. They played today. Alabama won it by a score of 8-6. The winner of that takes on the defending national champion LSU on Saturday. Tomorrow, 3:30, College World Series from Omaha.
What a shift that last one by Larionov. He beat Terrier and then beat Desjardins behind the net. He is an unrestricted free agent after this season, making about $1 million now. You know he's going to get some offers. Apparently the Red Wings have offered him about 1.3 to 1.4. He is not signed. At 165 pounds, an amazing player. It's hard to believe in 1992, when he was only 32 years old, the Vancouver Canucks deemed him to be too old and left him unprotected in the waiver draft.
A lot of these people that were deemed too old by teams have suddenly come back here in the finals. Larry Murphy, Slava Fetisov, Igor Larionov. Fetisov back in behind the net right there. Tried to dish it off. Came to McCarty. Aaron McCarty got run into and down by Lindros. No whistle here. One of those back to the boards, but not a big hard hit. McCarty was able to protect himself on it. 8:58 left to go. We're in the third period. The Red Wings up by 5. Back to Marge's Bar. Grosse Pointe. They have had a lot to celebrate tonight with a 6-1 lead. No doubt about who they're cheering for.
Imagine Marge is having a pretty good time, huh?
Marge is enjoying this very much, as is the city of Detroit. Big weekend here in Detroit with the Detroit Grand Prix going on. This big women's conference going on. About 20,000 in town for that. And, of course, the hockey. Motor City shot on. Hextall the save on Draper. Up the near side, out the center. Detroit will let it go. They're going to have to go back to get it. Mike Vernon holding it up behind the net. Coming into this game, Philadelphia does not have a player in the plus category for the first two games. There were some evens, but there was no plus player. And the way this game has gone, I can't imagine there's going to be any plus player going into game 4.
No, I can't imagine that, and I can almost say that the Flyers would need more than a 4-game series to ultimately end up with anybody in the plus category.
And that's how badly they have been beaten so far by Detroit. Centering pass, McCarty. Went through and into the corner. Thomas Sandstrom the hit on over there. Cleared out. 5-on-5 now. Lidstrom comes back. Both teams change it up on the fly here. Yzerman brings it in. Yzerman's had a great game. Lidstrom the move, and what a move on Yanni Niemann. A centered it back. Murphy. Save made by Hextall. Loose puck. Sandstrom tried to center. Larry Murphy with the opportunity on a nifty setup. Detroit making sure they're way back in the zone. Murphy right there.
That was a good save by Ron Hextall. He's obviously made up his mind that if he's going to go down, he's going to go down swinging. Very aggressive. He's really coming out as a shooter saying, hey, what the hell with this? I'm just going to go out at him.
And he knows he's, knows he probably is going to start game 4. Terry Murray indicating it was going to be Hextall the rest of the way. The sweet chant going up now by the Detroit fans. Cleared back out. Petit got it out of the zone. Detroit lining up along the blue line. That prevented Leclerc from getting in, and a penalty coming up here. Delayed call on Detroit. Touched up there by Terry, and delayed whistle. Hextall now sees it and heads out. Extra skater coming out for Philadelphia. Whistle will blow right here. As Kerry Fraser again making sure this stays under control. He got a slash there, and it'll be a power play for the Flyers with 6:58 left.
I didn't see it, but I thought it might have been a spear because the evidence was on the ice, a broken stick that broke right down near the blade, which very often is the sign of a spear, but Kerry Fraser saw a slash. So Slava Fetisov is off. The Flyers get a power play. There it is, the chop. Oh, yeah, the stick just snapped on the slash. John Leclerc across the blue line. You see, Konstantinov forces him over. Konstantinov has stood up on everybody and forced them wide. I mean, that has been such a big difference in the two teams. Watch the receive. There's Fetisov with the slash, but Konstantinov stepped right up on him. And we'll repeat this again. The reason that Detroit defensemen are able to do that, partially because of the left wing log, which has one forward back. And the other two reasons, their fourth and fifth guys get back so quickly. Konstantinov, Fetisov, never afraid to stand up.
The passive forecheck Philadelphia wanted to use to try and let their forwards get to the puck first. Didn't work.
No, they thought they were going to play the patient game and try to catch the Detroit Red Wings on a counterattack in the neutral zone. I think one of the factors, too, that has to be considered, these teams only played each other twice in the regular season. You don't get a real feel for one another. The Flyers all admitted after Game 1, we haven't played a team that plays like this team yet.
6:46 left. Power play is underway for Philadelphia, but they were offside, and the faceoff is going to come back the other way. It looks like a deciding game will be played on Saturday right here, and we'll have it for you on ESPN at 7:30. Our Quest for the Cup show, and 8 o'clock Game 4. Then, if necessary, Fox will have Game 5 for you at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesday, if necessary. The power play with Fetisov out is the 6th of the game for Philadelphia. They scored on their first power play. Leclerc at 7:03 of the first period. Obviously have not scored since because that's the only one they've got up there. And he won't score right there as Vernon denied. Vernon reaching up, knocking that one away. With the 6 goals picked up by the Wings, they now have 14 players who have at least 1 point here in the finals. Flyers at 6. Cleared around to the near side. Pope checked off the boards and out of the zone. Philadelphia, really feel deep down inside you to understand what they're thinking right now. Lindros out there. They just want this game over with. This whole third period has just been played that way. Sent back in by Lindros. Vernon wandering. Leclerc bumped him. Let go. Didn't hit him hard. Therrien, his shot blocked out deep. Shot that one right into Eisenman. Dykehouse will play it back for Philadelphia behind the net. 38 left on the power play. Lindros moves it in. Dropped it off. Had nobody there. Tomas Sandstrom sends it out. Draper giving chase. Charging down on Dykehouse. Dykehouse left it for himself. Up for Therrien. Both teams changing. 20 left on the advantage. Renberg down the middle. Couldn't control the puck. Was bouncing away. Detroit penalty killers got it out of there. 13 left on the power play. Sent in wide by Michel Petit. Aaron Ward back. Hard off the wall. Got it out of the zone. Whistle. He'll be brought back into the zone. May have been hit with a high stick over there off the glass. Our head and shoulders storyline with 5:01 left to go here in this third period in Detroit. The Red Wings 3 for 5 on the power play. LaPointe 2 goals tonight. Fedorov 2 goals tonight, and 8 of them in the playoffs.
And our head and shoulders replays features a guy that was in fact head and shoulders taller than the Flyers in this hockey game. Sergei Fedorov. He has put together a brilliant performance. Hard opportunist. Hard being at the right place at the right time as he was on that last goal. You know what Scotty Bowman's doing now? Gary, I've been watching what he's been doing on defense. Aaron Ward has played left D this entire series in playoffs. Last shift has had him out on the right side. Larry Murphy, who does not like to play the left side, the first shift on this kill had Larry Murphy on the left side. Get some players used to some different positions just in case. I'll tell you what, the wheels are always turning.
Back to the point, Therrien. The shot deflected wide. Power play is over. And that will be whistled. So 1 for 6 on the power play for Philadelphia. 4:53 to go third period. Detroit that far away from taking a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals. They are up by 5 in this game.
Well, a lot of people have left the Joe, but those who have stayed are still rocking and rolling. I guess the other fans that left figure this one's pretty well in the bag. I think that's a pretty good instinct. 6-1. Larry Murphy on the bench. I go back to the first period for what I call a turning point in this game. If not a turning point, it could have been a turning point for the Flyers. 5-on-3 penalty kill for the Red Wings. Murphy was part of it. The Red Wings killed it off when they were leading the Flyers 2-1 at the time. Less than 5 minutes later, the Red Wings made it 3-1, and they have not looked back. Thanks to Larry Murphy and his cohorts on the penalty kill, they killed off the 5-on-3.
Maybe a prophetic number, 55. Behind the net, shot on. Vernon knocked it away. Played back in by Petit. Maybe other teams want to think about signing up Joey Kosa. The Cup wants to follow him around.
Yeah, but I think they'd have a tough time prying him out of here now. They could have had him for nothing in December, boy.
Back when he was in that beer league. 4:07 left to go here in the third period. They hold the line. Leclerc looking into the middle, center, Lindros there. Pope checked away from him again up the center. Lindros trying to get down low to make a play. Big hit by Maltby on Shell Samuelson.
And it drove the glass right its holding bars on the side and broke the bottom of it. What a hit. Again, a Detroit Red Wing right in a Flyer's face. Absolutely no time. Kirk Maltby got the jump as soon as the puck left the zone and tracked Shel Samuelsson down and slammed him. Looks like one of the off-ice officials ended up with see Maltby right on him. And then another Red Wing along the boards. And Samuelsson tried to get the red line. That's a good play by Samuelsson. You know, he gave one up for the team to get the red line and dump it in. Kind of paid the price, but because the glass came out, probably wasn't that hard to hit. You know, he didn't end up against a real tough. Look at that angle we got on that camera. Our camera mount is a little bent now. That is a shot from one of our cameras that's mounted near the point of impact. There it is. All right, we need a volunteer, folks. Need somebody to run down there and straighten it up. Oh.
Broken glass on the right there. See Gary Fraser saying, bring it on out here, folks. 3:50 remaining to go in this third period. The Detroit Red Wing fans just celebrating a 6-1 lead. Last fix face-off at center, sent in wide on Vernon. Vernon tipped that one away. Mike Vernon making his 19th consecutive start here. In Game 4, he'll make his 20th consecutive start. It's the most consecutive starts he will have had going back, back about 4 or 5 years ago since he's done that. He's done it all here in the playoffs. Tipped back into the corner. Aaron Ward coming back to get it. 3:21 to go. Rouse has got it there. There's it up to the near side. These numbers defensively for Detroit continue to be just magnificent. They're only giving up 2 goals a game in the playoffs overall for the entire playoffs, and 1.25 here at home, and they're not going to hurt either of those numbers by the looks of it here tonight with only 3 minutes left and only 1 power play goal up there for Philadelphia. Eric Lindros. Lindros turns, 3-on-2 chance here. Renberg back up in the Legion of Doom line. He's got taken out of the play, centered it. Nowhere to go there, though, as Detroit's playing back. Rush is there to cover that one up. Shipped out of the zone to Dykhouse. Dykhouse up for Samuelsson. Samuelsson with the red will send it in. Shots are 28-22, although meaningless here the way this game has gone. Hextall makes the save on that one. Tipped back up into the seats. Yzerman took a pretty hard ride into the corner, and his teammates come over to stand up for him. Souvenir. Want to remind you, coming up Sports Center, the NBA Finals. We have sweeps all around here this year. The French Open. And a look at the Belmont draw with a Triple Crown winner, maybe. And on the deuce, we'll cover the press conferences for you that are going to be held here in Detroit after this game.
That'll be rather interesting to see what comes out of that from a Flyers standpoint.
Not much for Detroit, Scotty Bowman, or anybody to say, except to play one more game just like we played the last 3.
There will be no changes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is the Detroit approach in this hockey game, and it's not even close to being broken.
Brought back up by Yzerman. Steve Yzerman moving it in. Yzerman looked off the far side. Just dumped in by Konstantinov. Fedorov, 2 goals, 2 assists. LaPointe, 2 goals. Shanahan's gone 1-1, and Kosar 2 assists. The multiple point people in this game. You begin to think about Conn Smythe winners. Who might be the MVP of the playoffs? No matter who wins, you think about that. And certainly Vernon's one of those, and Fedorov, for the numbers he's putting up, has got to be considered. Aaron Ward takes it back in behind the net. Played up for Maltby. Maltby comes to the red line, sends it in. Players untangled behind the play. Ward and Zubrus separated. The linesman was there, but they moved apart themselves. Has not gotten out of hand. Carey Fraser made sure of that by making the close calls here in this third period. They'll get a whistle there on the face-off with 1:16 left.
Now, we mentioned that all of the headlines talked about a parade and a sweep And now the Detroit Red Wings are one game closer to the sweep. Could the Flyers actually get swept after being favored in this series? Well, it's possible. And there have not been 3 consecutive sweeps in the finals since 68, 69, 70. Common denominator to a possible sweep this year might be Scotty Bowman. He coached the St. Louis Blues in the losses. He had the team that was swept in each of those 3 years back in the late 60s, coaching St. Louis. But back then, the Western Conference was comprised of all the expansion teams. And by the time you got out of the Western Conference, you had to play the big bad Eastern Conference.
Outside here, Scotty Bowman's trying to become the first coach to win a Stanley Cup with 3 different teams. He already has 6 rings as a coach, 1 as a front office personnel. And if he wins, he has told his coaches, and I got this from Dave Lewis standing right next to him, that he 99% sure he is done. That he will not come back as coach here if they win. He left himself a 1% open. 1 minute left to go here in this period. Puck ends up in the seats. We'll be here on Saturday, 7:30, our quest for the cup, 8 o'clock for Game 4 in what could be the finisher, as Detroit will try and sweep this series and win their first cup since 1955 Saturday night. Mike Ilitch, like the rest of the Detroit personnel, will remain cool, calm, happy, but not putting it up front.
And notice how he is not glued to the game as he was earlier when it was being contested. He, at least for the evening, looks like he can relax a little bit.
Come back in for Aaron Ward. Ward will just finish that one up. Played back in behind the net by Yanni Niemann. Flip back into the zone. Mike Vernon's going to get another win in net. Hextall will be taking the loss. Mike Vernon is going to be 15-4 in this playoff season. Whoever would have thought that at the start of these playoffs? Penalty will be coming up here with 18 seconds left. Talk about decisions made by Scotty Bowman. I keep mentioning this because it keeps getting lost in all of this, but the decision to start Mike Vernon was a very controversial one at the start of these playoffs this year.
I think it went back to March 26th. That is the grudge match game that Detroit decided that they were going to finally retaliate against the Colorado Avalanche and Claude Lemieux. So they went at Colorado and went at them decisively, and in that game, Mike Vernon fought Patrick Roy and really showed his feistiness and his desire to compete and his desire to be on the ice and to win. And Scotty's never come out and said that. Boy, oh boy.
That's Scotty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, that was a turning point. Let's check in with Darren Pang. Darren?
You know, Billy, and don't forget, too, and as well, everybody knows this, but they had Grant Fuhr at the end of the ice in the first series against St. Louis. And, you know, Mike Vernon's been there before, and Scotty Bowman felt very comfortable with that choice. And then he goes back, and obviously Patrick Roy, and now he's got Ron Hextall. So, I mean, that's where Scotty Bowman leans to experience, and that's where it paid off.
And it has paid off big so far. And it may very well pay off in a cup and a sweep. 5 seconds left to go. Those left here at the Joe applauding the Red Wings, who are going to win this game 6-1. Philadelphia's lost and given up 6 goals in this year's playoffs. Wow. There's your final. Our playoff coverage with what could be the deciding game coming your way on Saturday. We will have it for you 7:30 for the pregame. Those kinds of hits determine this one. Stay tuned. Sports Center coming your way next. All the highlights of everything that's gone on in sports. For Bill Clement and all of our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.